The ancients did not plead with the heavens. They did not shout their desires into the wind, hoping to be heard by some distant, indifferent god. They knew a deeper truth. They understood a language far older than words, a silent, vibrational dialogue that flows constantly between the inner self and the outer world. This conversation is happening right now. It is happening within you, with every beat of your heart, with every feeling that rises and falls within your awareness. You are speaking to the universe. You are sending a signal. You are casting a vote for the reality you wish to experience. There is no moment where you are not communicating. The only question is, what are you saying? We have been taught to believe that power lies outside of ourselves, that we must ask and beg and strive and prove our worthiness. We have been handed formulas of supplication, rituals of hope. But the true formula is not a sequence of actions you perform. It is a state of being you embody. It is not about adding something new to yourself, but about stripping away the noise, the doubt, the static of a conditioned mind, so you can remember the power that has always been yours. This journey we are about to take is not a lesson. It is a remembrance, an awakening to the precise, immutable laws that govern creation itself. The universe is not a separate entity. It is an intelligent, conscious field of energy that is constantly responding to you. It does not hear your words. It feels your frequency. It mirrors your core beliefs. It materializes your dominant assumptions. Therefore, to change your world, you do not need to speak louder. You need to become clearer. This is the great secret. The precise formula for talking to the universe is to learn its native tongue, the language of feeling, to understand that every emotion is a command. Every deep-seated belief is a blueprint. What would your life become if you consciously and deliberately chose the feelings you inhabited each day? If you understood that your inner world is not a reaction to the outer world, but the very cause of it? This is not a philosophy. This is the physics of consciousness. So, let us begin. Not by learning to speak, but by learning once again how to listen to the silent, powerful language you were born to master. We are creatures of the word. From our first cry to our final breath, we learn to define our existence through language. We name things to know them. We speak to connect. We write to be remembered. We have built entire civilizations on the architecture of syntax and semantics. We pray with words. We declare love with words. We curse our enemies with words. We fill journals with our hopes and draft business plans with our ambitions, believing that the act of articulating a desire is the first step toward its fulfillment. And in this, we are profoundly mistaken. The universe, in its infinite intelligence and primal power, is deaf to your pleas. It is blind to your written goals. It is utterly indifferent to the elegance of your prose or the desperation of your prayers. It does not speak English or Sanskrit or any human tongue. It communicates in a medium far more ancient and immediate. The universe speaks the language of feeling. This is the first and most crucial key to unlocking the power within you. Your feeling is the word. Your emotional state is the broadcast. The frequency of your being is the only message the universe ever receives from you, not the fleeting thoughts that chase each other across the screen of your mind, not the affirmations you repeat mechanically while your heart is filled with doubt, but the deep, abiding, underlying current of feeling that is the very weather of your soul. This is a truth so simple that it is easily missed, dismissed by an intellect that craves complexity. But its simplicity is its power. Stop for a moment and consider the implications. Every state you inhabit, from the quiet hum of contentment to the sharp sting of anxiety, is a creative act. It is a command sent out into the quantum field, a command that must be answered. To grasp this, let us use an analogy. Imagine your core self, the consciousness that is you, as a perfectly calibrated tuning fork. It is designed to resonate at the frequency of its source, a frequency of pure love, boundless joy, and infinite potential. However, through life, through conditioning, through inherited beliefs and personal traumas, we learn to strike this tuning fork with all manner of implements. When you live in a state of fear, of worrying about the future, or regretting the past, it is as if you are striking your tuning fork with a piece of jagged metal. The sound it produces is dissonant, jarring. It is a vibration of lack, of things being wrong. The universe, being a perfect mirror of energy, a vast acoustic chamber, hears this dissonance and can only do one thing. It reflects it back to you. It arranges circumstances, people, and events that match the frequency of wrongness you are emitting. It gives you more reasons to feel fearful. When you exist in a state of resentment or bitterness, holding on to old wounds, you are striking your tuning fork with a heavy, leaden mallet. The frequency is low, dense, and sluggish. It is the vibration of being a victim, of being stuck. And so, the universe faithfully orchestrates a reality where you are perpetually stuck, where others seem to have power over your happiness, where the chains of the past feel unbreakable. Conversely, when you manage, even for a few moments, to cultivate a genuine feeling of gratitude, you strike your tuning fork with a soft, resonant felt hammer. The tone is clear, pure, and harmonious. It is the frequency of abundance. It is the signal of, I have enough, I am enough. The universe hears this beautiful, coherent signal, and its sole function is to amplify it. It begins to show you more things to be grateful for. The right person smiles at you. An unexpected opportunity appears. You find the lost keys. The reflection must match the source. The echo must match the voice. And your feeling, your state of being, is the voice. This is why positive thinking alone so often fails. You can stand in front of a mirror and say, I am wealthy 1,000 times, but if you feel poor, if your inner atmosphere is one of lack and desperation, the universe ignores your empty words and responds only to the feeling. The feeling of lack is the true prayer you are sending. It is a more honest communication. The universe does not reward your hypocrisy. It honors your authenticity, the authenticity of your vibration. So the first step in this great conversation is not to change your words, but to become intimately aware of your feelings, to become a connoisseur of your own inner states. Let us practice this now. Close your eyes if you can, or simply soften your gaze. Turn your attention inward, away from the world of forms, and into the vast inner space of your body. Ask yourself a simple question. How do I feel right now? And then be silent. Do not rush to find a word for it. Do not label it as good or bad. That is the mind, trying to categorize and control. Instead, simply feel it. Feel it as a pure sensation. Does it have a location in your body? Is it in your chest, your throat, your stomach? Is it warm or cool? Is it heavy or light? Does it feel expansive, like it wants to open up, or contracted, like it's pulling inward? Just observe. Be the space for this feeling. You are not the anger. You are the awareness that notices the anger. You are not the sadness. You are the silent, loving presence in which sadness is allowed to be. As you do this, you begin to detach from the feeling. You see it not as who you are, but as energy passing through you. And more importantly, you see it as information. This feeling is a messenger. It is the universe providing you with a perfect, real-time diagnostic of the signal you are currently broadcasting. If the feeling is one of unease, the universe is lovingly saying, this is the frequency you are on. Is this the reality you wish to create? It is not a judgment. It is a feedback mechanism. To condemn your own negative feelings is to shoot the messenger. To suppress them is to refuse to read the message. The only way to change the signal is to first acknowledge, without judgment, what is being broadcast. This silent language of feeling is the foundation of all creation. Before something can manifest in your physical world, it must first be a sustained feeling within you. A sustained feeling becomes a mood. A mood, held long enough, becomes a temperament. And a temperament, over time, crystallizes into a personality. Your personality then creates your personal reality. It all begins with that raw, unfiltered energy of feeling. When you want a new home, what you truly desire is the feeling of security, of peace, of belonging. When you want more money, what you are truly asking for is the feeling of freedom, of ease, of empowerment. When you desire a loving partner, you are seeking the feeling of connection, of being seen, of intimacy. The universe does not deal in things. It deals in their energetic essence. It deals in feeling. Therefore, your work is not to chase the thing. Your work is to cultivate the feeling of the wish already fulfilled, to generate, within the laboratory of your own being, the exact vibrational signature of the reality you desire. You must become the tuning fork that resonates with wealth before wealth can appear. You must vibrate with the frequency of love to draw love to you. You must feel whole to experience wholeness. This is the law. It is precise. It is impersonal. It is infallible. You are broadcasting at every moment. You are telling the universe who you are, what you believe, and what you are ready to receive. The question that will change everything for you is this: are you listening to what you are saying? For this feeling, this silent and powerful word, does not arise from nowhere. It is the child of a much deeper power. It is born from what you assume to be true. If feeling is the language of the universe, then belief is the thought that precedes the word. A feeling does not arise from a vacuum. It is the natural, inevitable offspring of a conviction held deep within. And what is it that you assume to be true? This is the next layer of our great work, the next door we must unlock on our journey inward. For your beliefs form the very blueprint of your reality. They are the silent, invisible architects of your world, drawing the plans from which your life is built, brick by painful or joyful brick. A belief is not merely an idea that you entertain. It is a conviction that you inhabit. It is a truth so profound and self-evident to you that you may not even recognize it as a belief at all. You simply call it the way things are. Let us explore this through a powerful metaphor. Imagine that you were born and live your entire life inside a vast, circular room. This room is unique. The walls, the floor, the ceiling are not made of stone or wood. They are made of perfect, flawless mirrors. From your first moments of consciousness, every single thing you perceive is a reflection. If you take a tentative, fearful step, 1,000 fearful figures in the mirrors take that same step with you. If you smile, the entire universe encapsulated in your room smiles back with warmth and acceptance. If you clench your fist in anger and frustration, you are met with an infinite army of angry, frustrated reflections, confirming your state, validating your rage. Now, imagine living in this room for years, for decades. You would eventually forget that you are looking at a reflection. You would come to believe that the world is simply a hostile or a friendly place based on the images you see. You would react to the angry man in the mirror, forgetting that he is only angry because you are. You would feel love from the smiling woman, not realizing she is only smiling because you smiled first. This room is your consciousness. This is the world you live in. Your life is a hall of mirrors. The universe is not projecting a reality onto you. It is reflecting your own consciousness back at you with breathtaking, perfect fidelity. The person who believes deep down that people can't be trusted will find their world populated by untrustworthy people, not because the world is inherently so, but because their belief acts as a filter. They will unconsciously seek out evidence to support their belief. They will interpret neutral actions as suspicious, and they will behave in ways that elicit untrustworthy behavior from others. Their reality becomes a closed loop, a self-fulfilling prophecy, an echo chamber where their core belief is whispered back to them from every corner. The universe simply says yes to whatever you hold to be true. If you whisper, "I am not worthy of love," The echo chamber amplifies it into a deafening roar that sounds like rejection from the outside world. If you stand firm in the conviction that I am always provided for, the mirrors will show you a world of opportunity, generosity, and synchronous support. To change your life, you cannot shout at the mirror. You cannot plead with the reflection. Wiping the mirror will do nothing. You must change the being who is casting the reflection. You must change yourself. This means we must become archaeologists of our own souls. We must be willing to dig beneath the surface of our daily thoughts and feelings and excavate the foundational beliefs upon which our entire identity is built. Most of these beliefs were not even chosen by us. They were handed down, absorbed from our parents, our culture, our early experiences, like second-hand coats that we have worn for so long we mistake them for our own skin. Let us bring the light of awareness to some of these core areas now. Let us begin with the foundation of all beliefs, the belief about yourself. In the silent, honest court of your own heart, what do you believe to be true about your own worth? Do you believe you are inherently valuable simply by virtue of your existence? Or is there a quiet, nagging assumption that your worth is conditional, that it must be earned through achievement, through being good, through being productive, through being attractive? Do you believe you are allowed to take up space, to have needs, to say no? Or do you believe you must be small, accommodating, and easy to manage in order to be acceptable? Be radically honest with yourself. This is not about judgment. It is about liberation. You cannot change a program you do not know is running. Now, let us turn the light to your beliefs about abundance, about money. What were the first stories you learned about money? Was it a source of joy and freedom in your childhood home, or a source of constant stress and arguments? Did you absorb the belief that money doesn't grow on trees, that you have to work incredibly hard for every penny, that rich people are greedy? These are not just quaint sayings. They are potent, energetic spells that are still active in your consciousness. If you believe money is scarce and hard to get, you will cast that reflection into the mirrors, and the world will faithfully show you a reality of struggle and scarcity. You will overlook opportunities. You will self-sabotage when you get close to success. Your belief system simply cannot allow a reality that contradicts its fundamental assumptions. It will protect its own integrity, even at the cost of your happiness. And what of love? What are the core assumptions you hold about connection, intimacy, and relationships? Do you believe, at your center, that you are profoundly and completely lovable just as you are? Or do you carry the assumption that you are somehow flawed, that you must hide parts of yourself to be chosen? Do you believe that true, lasting love is possible for you, or do you expect abandonment and betrayal? Many of us walk into relationships not as open, sovereign beings, but as walking, wounded histories, projecting the ghosts of past hurts onto new partners. We see the reflection of our father's anger or our mother's neglect in a person who is simply being themselves. The mirror reflects our fear, and we react to the mirror, creating the very outcome we dreaded. Do you see the mechanism now? A belief is not passive. It is an active, creative force. The belief I am not good enough is the seed. That seed must, by its very nature, sprout the feeling of insecurity. The feeling of insecurity is the language, the frequency you broadcast to the universe. The universe, like fertile soil, must then grow circumstances that match the seed you have planted. A missed promotion, a critical comment, a failed relationship. You have been trying to manage the smoke, while the fire of belief rages on, untouched and unexamined. You have been trying to wipe away the reflection of a frown, without ever realizing you are the one who is frowning. The ultimate power, then, lies in the courageous act of revising your core assumptions. To dare to assume a new reality for yourself, even before the mirrors have had a chance to change their reflection. This is the heart of the work. To consciously choose to believe in your own worthiness, even when your bank account or relationship status seems to say otherwise. To assume the feeling of being loved and safe, even if you are alone. To assume the stance of abundance, even as you pay your bills. This is not delusion, this is creation. It is telling the universe and the reflections, I am no longer taking my cues from you. From now on, you will take your cues from me. You are deciding, with sovereign power, what image you will cast into the mirrors. You are choosing the truth you will now inhabit. And the universe, as always, has no choice but to hear your silent conviction and to begin, moment by moment, to reflect your new assumption back to you as your experienced reality. But to do this, to install a new belief, you must first create a space for it. You must quiet the deafening echo of the old beliefs. And that requires a journey into silence. You have recognized that your feeling is the language. You have understood that your beliefs are the source of that feeling, casting their reflection onto the mirror of the world. But how do you change a belief that has been running on autopilot for your entire life, when the echo of it is a constant, deafening roar in your own head? How do you install a new truth when the old truth screams its objections? You do not do it by force. You do not fight the noise. You do not argue with the echo. You simply and profoundly stop. You create a pause. You discover the creative, intelligent power that exists only in the silent spaces of your being. Your mind, in its untrained state, is a ceaseless generator of noise. It is a compulsive commentator, a relentless narrator that never stops talking. It analyzes the past. It worries about the future. It judges the present. It offers opinions on everything, from the way you look to the way the world should be. This inner monologue is what we call the egoic mind, and it has become the soundtrack to modern life. We are so accustomed to its presence that we mistake it for ourselves. We believe we are the voice in our head, but this voice is the very static that jams the signal between you and the universe. It is the sound of you practicing your limitations over and over again. Every worry is a prayer for what you don't want. Every self-criticism is an affirmation of your unworthiness. Every judgment is a confirmation of a world of separation. This inner noise is the engine that keeps the echo chamber running, ensuring the mirrors reflect the same tired images day after day. To create anything new, you must first interrupt this broadcast. Let us turn to our metaphor of the lake. Your consciousness is a vast, deep lake. In its natural state, the water is perfectly still, crystal clear. You can see all the way to the bottom, to the ancient wisdom and silent treasures that lie there. But every thought is a stone thrown into this lake. A thought of fear is a jagged rock, sending sharp, chaotic ripples across the surface. A thought of planning for tomorrow is a handful of pebbles, creating a complex pattern of interference. A memory of a past hurt is a scoop of mud, dredged up from the bottom, clouding the water completely. The average human mind is in a state of constant storm, with hundreds of stones being thrown in every minute. The water is perpetually choppy, perpetually murky. In this state, you cannot see the truth of what lies beneath. You cannot perceive the subtle currents of intuition. You cannot hear the silent voice of the universe, because the noise of the splashing stones is all you know. The act of quieting the static, the practice of meditation or the sacred pause, is simply the act of deciding to stop throwing stones into the lake. It is not about forcing the water to be still. You cannot fight the ripples. That is just more stone throwing. Instead, you sit on the shore. You sit and you watch. You allow the stones that have already been thrown to send out their last ripples. You watch as those ripples gently fade, their energy dissipating. You watch as the mud of anxiety begins to settle. You watch as the silt of yesterday's argument drifts slowly down to the bottom. And as you sit and watch and do nothing, a miracle occurs. The water begins to clear. The surface becomes like glass. For the first time, you can see past the agitated surface of your thinking mind. You can see into the silent, intelligent depths of your own being. This clarity is your natural state. The silence is your home. Let us enter this silence now, together. There is nothing you need to do, and nowhere you need to go. Simply be here. If you are able, soften your gaze or gently close your eyes. Begin by finding your breath. Do not control it. Do not force it to be deep or slow. Simply notice it. Feel the gentle rise of your chest or belly as the air flows in, and the easy, soft release as the air flows out. This breath is your anchor. It is your tether to the present moment. The voice in your head will want to tell you stories about the past or the future, but your breath is always, only, here, now. As you rest your attention on the breath, you will inevitably notice a thought about what you need to do later, a memory, a judgment about this process. This is normal. It is what the mind does. The old practice was to fight it, to push it away. The new practice is to do nothing at all. Simply notice the thought, see it, acknowledge its presence, as you would acknowledge a cloud drifting across the vast blue sky of your awareness. The thought is a cloud. You are the sky. The sky does not cling to the cloud or fight the cloud. It simply allows the cloud to drift by in its own time. Watch the thought arise. Watch it float through your awareness, and watch it dissolve. And then return your attention gently to the anchor of your breath, in and out. As you practice this watching, this being the silent observer, you will begin to notice something truly profound. You will notice a space, a tiny gap of silence between the end of one thought and the beginning of the next. At first, this gap may be only a fraction of a second long. It is a moment of pure, thought-free awareness, a moment of pure peace. This space, this sacred pause, is the doorway. It is the crack in the cosmic egg. It is the womb of all creation. In that silent gap, you are not your story. You are not your past. You are not your name or your profession. You are pure, unconditioned consciousness. You are freedom itself. Your new work is to become a lover of this space, to look for it, to notice it, to rest in it whenever you find it. You can find it between breaths. You can find it in the moment you first wake up, before the narrator begins its daily report. You can find it while looking at a flower or listening to music. Every time you consciously notice this gap, you are withdrawing your energy from the noisy, conditioned mind and feeding the silent, powerful awareness that you truly are. You are letting the waters of the lake settle. The more you do this, the longer the gaps will become. The more clear the water will get. This stillness is not a passive, empty state. It is the most potent and creative state you can inhabit. Why? Because in the absolute stillness, the echo chamber of belief falls silent. The automatic programming is interrupted. In that space, there is no resistance. There is no argument from the ego. It is in this fertile silence that you can gently, easily plant the seed of a new belief. It is here that you can introduce the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You are no longer trying to shout over the storm. You are planting a seed in perfectly still, perfectly receptive soil. You can introduce the feeling of peace, and it will be accepted without question. You can introduce the feeling of worthiness, and it will begin to take root in the silent depths of your being. The sacred pause is not an escape from your life. It is the essential prerequisite to consciously creating it. It is the act of stepping out of the noisy factory of the mind and into the quiet boardroom where the real decisions are made. Practice finding this stillness, in traffic, in a queue, before a difficult conversation. Just one conscious breath, one moment of noticing the space. That is all it takes to interrupt the hypnosis of the thinking mind. That is all it takes to stop throwing stones into the lake. You are creating a clearing in the dense forest of your conditioning. And it is in this clearing that a new reality can finally begin to grow. For once you have found this inner silence, you now have a choice. a conscious choice of where to place your most sacred currency, the currency of your attention. You have found the silence. You have sat by the shore of the great lake of your mind and allowed the waters to become still and clear. In this newfound clarity, you are faced with a sovereign choice, a responsibility that is also your greatest power. The question is no longer how to stop the noise, but where, in the profound quiet, you will now direct your focus. For in this silence, you hold the single most creative tool in the universe, your attention. It is the currency of consciousness, the lifeblood of reality, the conduit through which the unmanifest becomes manifest. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, a world is born. We have been taught to think of attention as a passive mental function, a simple act of looking or listening. This is a profound understatement of its power. Your attention is not passive. It is an active, generative, life-giving force. It is a torrent of your own divine energy, a stream of consciousness that nourishes and vitalizes whatever it touches. Think of your focused attention as liquid sunlight. Whatever you shine it upon grows. This is why the forces of this world fight so viciously for it. The news cycle, social media, advertising, they are not just competing for your time, they are competing for your creative energy. They are farming your power. When you spend hours consumed by stories of fear, disaster, and division, you are not merely being informed. You are watering the garden of fear with your own life force. When you scroll endlessly through images that make you feel inadequate or envious, you are not just passing time. You are actively financing the state of lack within yourself. You are leaking your power, your sacred currency, into realities you would never consciously choose to build. To reclaim your power, let us envision this more clearly. Imagine your consciousness is a divine, powerful projector. The universe is the infinite, blank screen in front of you, and your attention is the single, focused beam of light that projects the image onto the screen. The film library at your disposal is endless, containing every possibility, every potential reality. Yet, most of humanity keeps the projector aimed at the archive room. You have reels in there labeled "My traumatic childhood," "The time I was betrayed," "My financial failures," "My chronic illness." And day after day you load these old films into the projector. You shine the bright, powerful light of your attention onto these past events, and they play out again and again on the screen of your present moment. You re-feel the old anger. You re-experience the old heartbreak. You relive the old limitations. And then you look at the screen, at this reality you are experiencing, and you wonder why nothing ever changes. You are the projectionist, replaying old tragedies, all the while praying for a new movie to begin. The great awakening occurs when you realize you can turn the projector. You can consciously, deliberately, turn it away from the archive of what has been and aim it toward the vast, unwritten studio of potential. You can choose a new film, a film titled "My Perfect Health," a film titled "My Deep and Fulfilling Love," a film titled "My Effortless Abundance and Freedom." The universe, the screen, has no preference. It is completely impartial. It can only show what is being projected upon it. It cannot project health if the light of your attention is stubbornly focused on the film reel of sickness. It is a law, a simple, impersonal, and liberating law. This is not just a poetic metaphor. It aligns with the way our reality appears to function at its most fundamental level. In the strange and wonderful world of quantum physics, it is understood that at the subatomic level, things do not exist in a definite state until they are observed. A particle exists as a wave of probability, a cloud of all possible locations and states simultaneously. It is the act of observation, the act of measurement, the act of paying attention that collapses the wave of infinite possibilities into a single, concrete particle of experience. Your focused attention is that act of divine observation. The future exists as a quantum soup of infinite potentials. There is a potential you who is sick, and a potential you who is healed. A potential you who is poor and one who is prosperous. By placing your unwavering, feeling-toned attention on the reality you wish to experience, you are the observer who collapses the wave of potential into the fact of your life. You are selecting your reality from the infinite menu of creation, simply by choosing where to place your focus. So how do we practice this? How do we become master projectionists, instead of accidental viewers of our own unwanted reruns? The process has two crucial, non-negotiable steps. First, you must put your problems on a starvation diet. You must consciously withdraw the sunlight of your attention from the weeds you do not wish to grow. This is often the most difficult step because the ego finds a strange sense of identity in its problems. To begin, you must stop talking about what is wrong. Stop telling the story of your illness, your poverty, or your loneliness to everyone who will listen. Every time you tell that story, you are loading that old film into the projector and hitting play. You are guiding the energy of others to water your weeds. Stop complaining. Complaining is a powerful prayer for more of what you don't want. Stop checking on the things that cause you pain. Stop looking at your bank account with fear. Stop stalking the social media of the person who broke your heart. You must be disciplined. This is not ignorance or denial. This is profound wisdom. You are refusing to give your creative life force to things that you do not wish to create. You are taking back your power. The second step, which must be performed with equal discipline, is to take all of that reclaimed energy, that precious currency of attention, and to lavish it upon the state you desire to embody. Feast your attention on your desired reality. This is not just wishful thinking, it is a specific, focused technique. If you desire health, you do not focus on not being sick. That still keeps the projector aimed at sickness. Instead, you place your attention entirely on the state of health itself. You close your eyes and feel the feeling of vitality in your body. You feel the energy, the flexibility, the ease. You ask yourself, what would I be doing today if I were perfectly healthy? And you let your mind dwell on those activities. You plan a hike. You feel the joy of running. You taste the delicious, healthy food you are eating. You are projecting the film of perfect health onto the screen of the universe. If you desire abundance, you must stop feeding the reality of lack with your worried attention. Instead, you must feel the feeling of security and freedom now. You ask, what would my state of mind be if all my needs were met, with plenty to spare? It would be relief. It would be generosity. It would be freedom. So you cultivate that feeling. You walk through your day from that feeling. You look at the world not through the eyes of lack, but through the eyes of a prosperous person. You might notice opportunities you were blind to before. You might feel a generous impulse to tip someone extra, acting as if you have more than enough. You are changing the projectionist, and therefore changing the film. This is the great work. To consciously withdraw your life-giving attention from the world of unwanted effects, and to place it steadfastly on the inner cause, the feeling state of the reality you choose to call forth. You are the sun. Decide what you will shine upon. You have found the silence. You have chosen where to shine the sun of your attention. But what, precisely, is the object of your focus? Here we arrive at one of the most subtle, and therefore most powerful refinements of this entire creative process. A secret understood by all master creators is this: you do not focus on the form, you focus on the feeling. You do not aim your creative energy at the specific vessel. You aim it at the essential spirit that you believe the vessel contains. This is the difference between being a frustrated architect and a divine artist. This is the secret of true, effective desire. Our human minds are conditioned to think in terms of specifics. We don't just want a car. We want that specific model, in that color, with that interior. We don't just want a partner. We have a detailed checklist of their height, their profession, their interests. We don't just want abundance. We want it to arrive in the form of a lottery win or a specific job promotion. We do this because our logical mind feels safe with concrete details. It needs a tangible target. But in doing so, we profoundly limit the infinite intelligence of the universe. By fixating on the form, we are telling the master artist of creation how to do its job. We are handing a genius a paint-by-numbers canvas and demanding it stay within the lines. We are limiting the outcome to the narrow confines of what we already know and can imagine. The universe, in its wisdom, knows pathways and possibilities that are utterly invisible to us. And to access them, we must learn to desire in a new way. Let us use an illustration. Imagine you walk into a divine restaurant. The kitchen is staffed by the universe itself, a master chef who has access to every ingredient imaginable from every corner of existence. This chef can prepare dishes of such exquisite flavor and nourishment that your mind cannot even comprehend them. Now, the amateur creator, the person stuck in form, walks in with a rigid, detailed recipe card. They march up to the counter and say, "I require 1 grilled chicken breast, 150 grams, with exactly 1 cup of steamed broccoli and half a cup of brown rice. Do not use salt, use only black pepper." The universe, the chef, is bound to honor your specific request. It will prepare that exact meal for you. You will receive it, but it may be dry, bland, and unsatisfying. It may not be what your body, your soul truly needed for nourishment. You dictated the form, and you received the form, but you missed the magic. Now, watch the master creator enter. They walk up to the counter, and they do not present a recipe. They speak to the chef from their heart. They say, "I am craving a feeling. I desire to feel energized, light, vibrant, and deeply nourished. I want the flavor of vitality." Surprise me, they have described the essence, not the ingredients. They have communicated the desired feeling state. The master chef now lights up. Its infinite creativity is unleashed. It can now access its full pantry of wonders. It might bring you a dish you've never heard of, a vibrant tropical fish with a citrus herb salsa and exotic roasted vegetables that perfectly provides the energetic signature you requested. It might bring you a simple, perfect broth that revitalizes you in a way you never thought possible. The form is unexpected, but the feeling, the essence, is a perfect match. The outcome is far more magnificent than what your limited, recipe card mind could have ever designed. This is how you must learn to desire. You must stop handing the universe recipe cards and start describing the flavor you crave. Your only real work is to identify the core feeling that lies beneath the form you think you want. This requires a small act of introspective honesty. Let us practice it now. Take a desire that you hold in your mind. Perhaps it is a specific sum of money, say $1 million, a concrete form. Now, ask yourself the most important creative question: why? Why do I want $1 million? Your first answer might be, "So I can pay off all my debts and buy a new house." A good start. But we must go deeper. Ask again, why? What would having no debt and a new house give me? Well, I wouldn't have to worry all the time. I could quit the job I hate. We are getting warmer. Ask again, why? What is the feeling of not worrying and quitting that job? The feeling would be freedom. It would be security. It would be peace. There, you have found it. The true object of your desire is not the $1 million. The money is just one possible vessel, one potential recipe. The true desire, the core frequency you must broadcast, is the feeling of freedom, security, and peace. The universe responds to this feeling, not to the number in your bank account. The same applies to all desires. You think you want a romantic partner. Why? To feel less lonely. Why? To feel cherished, seen, and understood. To feel a deep connection. That is your target, the feeling of being cherished and connected. You think you want to lose 20 pounds. Why? To look better in your clothes. Why? To feel confident, attractive, and vital. To feel comfortable in your own skin. The target is the feeling of confidence and vitality. Once you identify this core feeling, two magical things happen. First, your work becomes infinitely simpler. You no longer need to visualize the specific house or the face of a specific person. Your only task is to generate the feeling of peace or connection or vitality within your being now. You must feel it in your body. You marinate your consciousness in this feeling. You walk, talk, and breathe as a person who is already free, already cherished, already vital. You are now broadcasting a clear, powerful, essential signal into the field of potential. You are ordering the flavor, not the ingredients. The second magical thing that happens is that you liberate the universe to serve you in ways that exceed your wildest dreams. By detaching from the form, you open yourself to infinite channels of fulfillment. If you are fixated on the $1 million as the only way to get freedom, you close your eyes to every other possibility. Freedom might be waiting for you in the form of a brilliant business idea that requires almost no capital. It might come as a sudden opportunity to work remotely from a low-cost, beautiful location. It might come as a profound inner shift, where you no longer need external validation and find freedom in a simpler life. If you insist on the recipe, you may miss the feast. But if you focus on the feeling, the universe can deliver your freedom through the most joyful, elegant, and unexpected channels. You release your white-knuckled grip on the how. You stop meddling in the cosmic kitchen. You do your one job, to feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And you allow the master chef of creation to handle the divine logistics. Your prayer is no longer a rigid demand. It becomes an open invitation. An invitation for the universe to delight you, to surprise you, and to nourish you in ways far beyond the limits of your imagination. You have identified the core feeling you wish to embody. You have learned to aim the divine projector of your attention away from the reruns of the past and onto the fresh, creative screen of potential. You have given your order to the master chef of the universe, and now you arrive at the most delicate, the most misunderstood, and the most pivotal turn in this entire creative dance. A move that seems, to the logical mind, like a complete contradiction. You must let it go. You must release it. You must want it, without needing it. You must learn the supreme art of detachment. The rational mind immediately rebels against this. How can this be? It asks. How can I passionately desire something and simultaneously be detached from it? I have just been taught to focus my attention, to feel the feeling, and now you tell me to let it go? This makes no sense. The contradiction is not in the truth, but in our limited understanding of energy. The paradox dissolves when we make a crucial distinction between two very different energetic states, the state of pure wanting and the state of desperate needing. They may look similar on the surface, but to the universe, their frequencies are worlds apart. Pure wanting is the energy of creation itself. It is expansive, joyful, and light. It comes from a place of wholeness, of fullness. It is the artist, already complete, wanting to add a new splash of color to an already beautiful canvas. It is the musician, already fulfilled, desiring to compose a new melody. This kind of wanting has no anxiety attached to it. It is a preference, a creative impulse. Its energetic signature is, I am already whole and happy, and wouldn't it be wonderful to experience this new creation? I am excited for this. It is a frequency of joyful anticipation and partnership with the universe. Needing, on the other hand, is the energy of lack. It is contracted, anxious, and heavy. It comes from a place of incompletion, from the belief that I am not enough without this thing. Needing says, my happiness is dependent on this outcome. I cannot be okay until this arrives. It is a frequency of desperation. When you need something, you are, by definition, screaming into the universe, I do not have it. You are focusing on the absence of the thing you desire, and the universe, in its perfect, impersonal mirroring, hears the powerful vibration of I do not have, and dutifully creates more experiences of not having. Your neediness, your desperate attachment to the outcome, is the very force that pushes it away. It is the energetic repellent to your own desire. Let us return to a simple metaphor. Imagine your desire is a small living bird that has landed in the palm of your hand. You are enchanted by it. You want it to stay. The energy of needing is to immediately clench your fist around the bird. You think, I must have it. I cannot let it get away. Your fear of loss, your desperate need to control the outcome, causes your muscles to tighten. You squeeze. And in your desperate attempt to possess the bird, you suffocate it. You crush the very life out of the thing you desired. Your neediness has destroyed your creation. This is what we do with our desires when we are attached to the outcome. The energy of detached wanting is to keep your hand open. You delight in the presence of the bird. You cherish it. You pour your love and appreciation into it. But your hand remains relaxed, open, free. You are creating a safe and welcoming space for the desire to exist. You are trusting. You are saying to the bird, I would love for you to stay, but I trust your freedom. I trust that your presence in my life is a gift, not a possession. In that open, trusting, safe space, the bird chooses to stay. And even if it were to fly away, the open hand remains, ready to receive whatever new wonder the universe wishes to place there. Detachment is the open hand. Needing is the clenched fist. Think also of the farmer. He carefully prepares the soil. He chooses his finest seed. He plants it with intention, and then he walks away. He trusts. He trusts in the unseen processes of life. He trusts in the sun, the rain, the soil. He knows his active work is done. His new work is to trust the process of germination that happens in the dark, beneath the surface. The needy farmer, the attached creator, plants the seed and is immediately consumed by anxiety. Is it working? Is it growing? He runs out to the field every hour, digs up the seed to check for a sprout, and in his desperate need to see progress, he kills the seed. Your desire is a seed planted in the fertile soil of the quantum field. You feel it into being, you water it with your attention, and then you must trust the germination. You must let it go and allow the divine intelligence to do its work. This is why detachment is not indifference. It is not, I don't care if I get it or not. Indifference is a flat, lifeless energy. Detachment is the ultimate expression of faith. It is a vibrant, confident energy. Detachment says, I have placed my order with the master chef. The feeling is my order. I have done my part. I am so confident that the chef is preparing my perfect meal that I don't need to run into the kitchen every 5 minutes to see if he's doing it right. My work is done. Now, I will simply enjoy the present moment, trusting that my desire is on its way, in its own perfect time and its own perfect form. Neediness is a profound statement of distrust in the chef. Detachment is a profound statement of absolute faith. So how, practically, do you cultivate this state of faithful release? You do it by consciously shifting your state. After you have spent time in your meditative practice, deeply feeling the reality of your wish fulfilled, you must perform a small ritual of release. Imagine placing that entire scene, that feeling state, into a beautiful, shimmering bubble. See it clearly. And then, with a feeling of love and trust, release the bubble and watch it float up, and away into the cosmos, knowing it has been received. You can say to yourself, this, or something better, now manifests for me, for the highest good of all concerned. This act signals to your own subconscious mind and to the universe that you are not going to be digging up the seed. Then you must pivot. The moment you feel the anxious, clutching energy of, I need it now, where is it? Rising up, you must have a pre-planned maneuver. The most powerful maneuver is to pivot immediately to gratitude. The frequency of need is lack. The frequency of gratitude is fulfillment. They cannot coexist. The moment you feel the clench of needing, stop, take one conscious breath and deliberately find 3 things in your current reality to be outrageously grateful for. The feeling of the sun on your skin, the taste of your coffee, the sound of a loved one's voice. Immerse yourself in the feeling of gratitude. In doing so, you instantly switch your frequency from "I don't have to, I have so much." You realign yourself with the energy of abundance, which makes you a match for the abundance you have asked for. Your job is not to watch the pot, waiting for it to boil. Your job is to live your life in a beautiful state, trusting that the boiling will happen at the perfect moment. You have learned to release your desire on an energetic level, opening your hand to let the bird of your creation fly freely, trusting in its return. Now, we must ground this sacred principle of release in the tangible world around you. We must move from the inner temple to the outer courtyard, for there is a powerful and immutable law woven into the fabric of both physics and spirit that states this: the universe abhors a vacuum. Nature always rushes to fill an empty space. And in the art of creation, you must learn to consciously create that sacred emptiness. To truly invite the new into your life, you must first have the courage to make space for it to occupy. Your life, as it is right now, is full. Your days are full of habits. Your home is full of possessions. Your mind is full of thoughts, and your heart is full of relationships and attachments. It is a closed system. Imagine your life as a cup, filled to the very brim with the water of your current reality. This water may be comfortable, familiar, but it has also become stagnant. It holds the residue of every past disappointment and every limiting belief. Now, you hold in your other hand a pitcher filled with the fresh living water of the reality you desire to experience, a reality of vitality, abundance, and joy. You cannot pour this new water in. The cup is already full. Any attempt will just cause an overflow, a mess. You will lose the new water as it spills over the sides. The first and only step is to take the cup of your life and pour out the old, stagnant water. This act of emptying is a profound declaration of faith. It is you saying to the universe, "I am releasing what was, I am ready for what can be." Let us make this even more practical. Imagine the desire you have been cultivating, the feeling of peace, love, or freedomus, a beautiful, magnificent new piece of furniture. Perhaps it is a grand oak table, strong enough for your entire family to gather around in joyful celebration. Or maybe it's a luxurious, comfortable bed, promising deep, restorative sleep. You have ordered this furniture from the universe. You have felt it, visualized it, and detached from the outcome, trusting in its delivery. Now, take an honest look at the room of your life. Is there space for this new furniture? Or is the room cluttered from wall to wall, with old, broken, and mismatched items that you have been clinging to for years? Look closely at this furniture of your past. There is the rickety, uncomfortable chair of a toxic friendship that drains your energy every time you sit in it. Over in the corner are dusty boxes filled with memorabilia from a past relationship, a monument to a love that has ended. Your closet is stuffed with clothes for a version of yourself that no longer exists, the self that was 10 years younger, or the self that worked in a profession you despised. Your desk is piled high with papers from old projects that failed, a constant physical reminder of past shortcomings. You cannot squeeze your magnificent new table into this room. You cannot fit your luxurious new bed. To try would be absurd. You must first create the space. The act of clearing the room is the final, essential instruction you give to the universe. It is the signal that you are serious. It is you telling the cosmic delivery service, "The space is ready. You can bring my new reality now." This process of clearing, of creating a sacred vacuum, must be undertaken on all levels of your being. Begin with the physical, for it is the most tangible and often the easiest place to start. Your home is a direct reflection of your inner state. Walk through it as if you were seeing it for the first time. Open your closet. Every item of clothing holds a frequency. Are those clothes for the abundant, joyful, confident person you are becoming? Or are they for the fearful, insecure person you are leaving behind? Thank each item for its service and let it go. Create empty hangars. Create empty shelf space. This physical vacuum creates a powerful pull for new things that match your new vibration. Clean your desk. Clear your clutter. Throw away or donate anything that does not resonate with the feeling of the reality you are building. Every object you release is a prayer in action. Then, move to your digital world. This is the new frontier of energetic clutter. Look at your phone. Scroll through your contacts. Is there anyone on that list whose name, when you see it, causes your stomach to tighten? You do not have to delete them in a dramatic flourish, but you can begin the process of energetically letting go. Look at your social media feeds. Which accounts make you feel inspired, expansive, and joyful? Which ones leave you feeling envious, inadequate, or angry? Be a ruthless curator of your own energy. Unfollow. Mute. Leave the group. Every digital connection is a stream of energy, either feeding you or draining you. Create a vacuum by cutting the cords that drain. Create space for new connections and new information that will nourish the future you. Now, we must be brave, for we approach the most potent area of clearing, your relationships and social obligations. This is the heavy furniture that takes up the most space in the room. Look honestly at the people with whom you spend your precious time. Are your conversations built on a foundation of shared joy and growth, or on a foundation of mutual complaint and gossip? Are there friendships that are simply a habit, where neither of you is truly seen or nourished? Are there family dynamics that require you to shrink yourself, to play a small and inauthentic role to keep the peace? You must understand this is not about judging others or cruelly cutting people out of your life. It is about honoring your own evolution. It is about loving yourself enough to no longer participate in dynamics that are out of alignment with your soul. This might mean saying no more often. It might mean letting certain friendships gently fade by no longer feeding them your time and energy. You are emptying the space in your calendar that was once filled with draining obligations, creating a vacuum for new, soul-nourishing connections to enter. Finally, you must create a vacuum in your habits and your mind. What old, repetitive thought loops are taking up all your mental bandwidth? The loop of self-criticism, the loop of replaying an old argument, the loop of worrying about a future that will likely never happen. When you catch yourself in one of these loops, the practice is not to fight it, but to simply withdraw your attention, creating a momentary mental vacuum. And what of your daily habits? The habit of reaching for your phone the moment you wake up, the habit of numbing your feelings with food or television. Each time you consciously choose not to perform an old, automatic habit, you create a void of time and energy. And the universe, which abhors a vacuum, will rush to fill that void with a new impulsian impulse for a walk in nature, an impulse to read an inspiring book, an impulse of inspired action toward your goal. This great clearing is not always easy. As you let go of old possessions, relationships, and habits, feelings of guilt or grief may arise. Honor them. Thank the old reality for the lessons it taught you. But do not allow these feelings to stop you from making the space. Every item you donate, every draining conversation you decline, every negative thought you release is a powerful statement to the universe. It is you, on a physical and practical level, declaring with absolute certainty, I am no longer available for that reality. I have grown. I am ready. I have made the space. I am open to receive. You have aligned your energy. You have clarified your feeling, focused your attention, and detached from the outcome with a heart full of faith. You have cleared the clutter from your life, creating a sacred, empty space for your desire to land. You have done all the work. And then, the door you were so certain was yours, the opportunity you were sure was meant for you, slams shut in your face. The job goes to someone else. The person you love chooses another. The funding is denied. In this raw, stinging moment of apparent denial, the human ego cries out. It screams, I have failed. It whispers, I am not worthy. It concludes that the universe is either deaf, cruel, or that this entire process is a lie. But the soul, in its deep and quiet wisdom, understands a different truth. It does not see failure, it sees guidance. It does not hear rejection. It hears the profound and loving wisdom of the sacred no. To proceed on this path, we must make a pact. We must agree to remove the words rejection and failure from our creative vocabulary. These are words of the ego, born from a limited perspective that can only see a few feet down the road. They are labels for events that we do not yet understand. Let us replace them with two words of the soul: redirection and protection. For every single time the universe presents you with a closed door, it is doing one of these two things. It is either protecting you from something that is not for your highest good, or it is redirecting you towards something far greater. A no from the universe is not a denial of your worth. It is an affirmation that your soul deserves something more aligned, more magnificent, or that the timing is not yet ripe for the blessing to be received. It is a gesture of profound love, even when it arrives in the disguise of disappointment. To truly grasp this, imagine your life's path as a great and powerful river. Your source is the creative impulse of the universe, and your destination is the vast, boundless ocean of your fullest potential, your deepest fulfillment. The river has only one true intention: to flow to the sea. Now, from the limited perspective of the water itself, a giant stone boulder that appears in its path is an obstacle. A hard cliff wall that it crashes against is a failure, a harsh rejection of its forward momentum. It feels like a painful, frustrating blockage. But if we rise above, if we take on the perspective of the sky looking down upon the entire landscape, we see a different story. We see that these apparent obstacles are actually the river's most loving guides. The boulder that turns the river sharply east is protecting it from flowing into a vast, arid desert where it would evaporate into nothingness. The cliff wall that forces it to curve south is steering it toward a lush, fertile valley where it can gather strength, deepen its channel, and flow with even greater power. The banks of the river, which seem to confine it, are the very things that give it its shape, its force, and its beautiful, meandering journey to the sea. Your life is this river, and the rejections, the failures, the closed doors, they are the sacred banks of your river. The job you didn't get, the one that broke your heart at the time, was the universe's boulder, protecting you from a toxic work environment or a dead-end career that would have drained your soul. The relationship that ended so painfully was the universe's cliff wall, redirecting you away from a partner who could not grow with you, making space for a love that can meet you at the depth of your being. The business that failed was the universe carving a new, more promising channel for your creative energies to flow. From your ground-level view, it felt like failure. From the cosmic, sky-level view, it was grace. It was divine intervention. It was protection and redirection. It is helpful to understand that the sacred no generally comes in two distinct flavors. The first is the no, not yet. This is a no of divine timing. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, sees the entire timeline. It knows that the soil of your life is not yet ready for the seed of this particular desire to be planted. Perhaps you need to develop more strength, more wisdom, or more self-love to be able to handle the blessing that is coming. To receive a great abundance before you have learned financial discipline might lead to ruin. To enter a profound partnership before you have healed your own wounds might cause you to sabotage it. The no, not yet, is a gift of preparation. It is the universe lovingly holding your desire and trust for you, while it guides you through the experiences necessary to make you ready to receive it fully and sustain it joyfully. When you feel impatient, when you cry out, "Why is it not here yet?" you are questioning this divine timing. True faith is trusting that the delay is part of the perfection. The second flavor is the no, something better. This is perhaps the most loving no of all. This is the universe protecting you from your own limited imagination. You have asked for a candle, but the universe intends to give you the sun. You have asked for a small, safe harbor, but the universe intends for you to command a great ship on the open sea. You have asked for a paycheck, but the universe wants to give you a purpose. It will say no to your smaller, safer prayer to protect the destiny of your greater one. It will close the door on the good enough to keep you on the path toward the magnificent. This requires immense trust. It requires you to believe that even when your prayer is denied, it is being denied in favor of an even greater prayer that your own soul has uttered, perhaps in a voice too deep for your conscious mind to have yet heard. The key to navigating these moments is to learn to read the signs of redirection with faith instead of fear. The best way to cultivate this faith is to use the wisdom of your own past. Take a moment now and travel back in your memory. Find a time in your life when a door slammed shut, a time of what you then labeled a devastating failure or a painful rejection. Feel the sting of it for a moment. Now, from your vantage point of today, look at the path your life took after that closed door. Can you see, with the clarity of hindsight, how that supposed failure was, in fact, a perfect redirection? Can you see how that closed door forced you toward an open window you never would have noticed? Can you see how that ending was the necessary catalyst for a new and better beginning? Your own life is the greatest scripture, the most profound proof that this principle is true. You have been protected and redirected, time and time again. When you truly integrate this understanding, your entire relationship with disappointment changes. A closed door no longer feels like a personal attack from the universe. It feels like a secret, loving message. It feels like a course correction, and you can learn to meet it with a new response. Instead of collapsing into despair, you can stand tall, take a breath, and say with genuine faith, "Thank you. Thank you for the protection from what was not for me. Thank you for the redirection toward my highest good. I accept this change, of course. I am now open and ready to see the new, even better door that you are opening for me." This is the alchemy that turns the lead of failure into the gold of faith. It is the wisdom that allows your river to flow, with trust and power, all the way to the sea. You have learned to trust the closed doors, to see the sacred no as an act of divine protection and redirection. This trust creates a foundation of profound peace, a quiet harbor from the storms of disappointment. And upon this peaceful foundation, we can now build the most powerful, most beautiful, and most effective broadcast tower in the universe. We can now engage with the ultimate catalyst of creation, the great amplifier of all our intentions. This catalyst is not a complex technique or a secret incantation. It is a simple, immediate, and transformative state of the heart. It is the frequency of gratitude. When we speak of gratitude, we are not speaking of the polite, mechanical thank you that we were taught as children, a social lubricant offered without much feeling. We are speaking of a deep, somatic, all-encompassing state of being. A felt sense of appreciation that warms the chest and softens the gaze. It is a vibration so high, so pure, and so powerful that it realigns your entire reality. Why? Because gratitude is the emotional signature of the wish already fulfilled. It is the frequency of, "It is done." It is the very feeling you would have after your prayer has been answered. By choosing to feel gratitude now, before the evidence has appeared in your physical world, you are performing an act of supreme creative power. You are collapsing time. You are signaling to the universe, in the only language it understands, that your desire is not some distant hope, but a present-tense reality. You are not asking for a gift. You are sending a thank you note for a gift you have already received in spirit. And the universe, seeing this note of thanks, has no choice but to ensure the delivery of the package. To understand this more deeply, imagine your consciousness is a vast and beautiful garden. Every desire you hold, every intention you set, is a seed you wish to plant. You can take a perfectly viable seed and plant it in dry, rocky, infertile soil, the soil of lack, complaint, fear, and impatience. That seed, despite its potential, will struggle to grow. It will be starved of nutrients and may wither before it ever breaks the surface. This is what happens when we try to create from a state of neediness or frustration. Gratitude is the act of transforming your entire consciousness into rich, black, fertile soil. It is the life-giving humus, teeming with nutrients and potential, that provides the perfect environment for any seed to flourish. When you choose to live in a state of gratitude, you are constantly tending to your inner garden. A desire planted in this soil does not have to struggle. It is immediately surrounded by the nourishing energy of trust, acceptance, worthiness, and abundance. Its growth is no longer a battle. It becomes effortless, natural, and often breathtakingly rapid. Gratitude creates the energetic climate for miracles. It tells the universe, my inner world is ready. It is fertile. It is receptive. Send the seeds of my highest good. They will find a welcoming home here. The practice of gratitude can be approached in two essential levels. The first, and most fundamental, is gratitude for what already is. Before you can be truly and authentically grateful for what is coming, you must first be profoundly grateful for what is already here, in your present reality. This practice grounds you in the abundance that already surrounds you, an abundance we so often overlook. Let us enter this practice now. Wherever you are, bring your awareness to your body. Feel a wave of gratitude for the simple, staggering miracle of your own breath, which has been flowing in and out, without your conscious effort, every moment of your life. Feel gratitude for your heart, the faithful drum that has been beating for you, keeping the rhythm of your existence since before you were born. Feel gratitude for the chair or the ground that is supporting you, holding you, keeping you secure. Feel it for the roof over your head, the clothes on your body. Do not search for grand things to be grateful for. The true power lies in finding the sacred within the mundane, the taste of clean water, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the ability of your eyes to perceive color and light. The technology that allows you to hear these words right now. Dive deeply into these simple, overlooked gifts. Feel the appreciation swell in your chest. Let it become a physical sensation. When you saturate your being with gratitude for the small, ever-present miracles, you shift your entire frequency. You move from the perspective of a person who is lacking to the perspective of a person who is showered with incomprehensible riches at every moment. You become a magnet for more experiences that match this frequency of being richly blessed. Once you have mastered this foundational practice, once you can easily call forth the feeling of gratitude for your present moment, you can then proceed to the second, more advanced level. This is the ultimate act of creative faith. This is the practice of feeling gratitude for what is coming, as if it is already a fact. This is not pretending. This is acknowledging the truth that all creation is finished in the spiritual realm, in the quantum field of infinite potential. Your act of gratitude is what draws that potential from the invisible world into the visible one. You close your eyes, and you feel a profound sense of gratitude for the financial ease and freedom that is yours. You don't see it in your bank account yet, but you feel the relief of it in your body. You feel the freedom of it in your heart, and you say internally, thank you. Thank you for the abundance that flows so freely into my life. Thank you for the peace of mind that comes with knowing all my needs are met. You feel gratitude for the vibrant health that is coursing through your veins. You feel the energy, the strength, the vitality as a present reality, and you whisper, thank you for this strong, healthy, capable body that heals itself so perfectly. You feel gratitude for the soul-nourishing love that fills your life. You feel the warmth of connection, of being seen and cherished, and you affirm, thank you for the beautiful love that surrounds me and fills my heart. By giving thanks in advance, you are aligning yourself perfectly with the reality of your desire. You are accepting the gift before it has been unwrapped, This practice is also the most powerful antidote to the lower frequencies that sabotage creation. Fear cannot survive in the presence of true gratitude. Desperation dissolves in its warmth. Anger and resentment cannot take root in the fertile soil of a grateful heart. The moment you feel the cold grip of fear or the familiar ache of lack, you now have your tool. Pivot instantly to gratitude. Force yourself, if you must at first, to find something to appreciate. The shift in your emotional state will be immediate. The shift in your vibrational broadcast will be instantaneous. Gratitude is not just a pleasant feeling, it is a creative force. It is the language of receiving. It is the frequency of grace. Make it the very atmosphere of your being, and watch as your world transforms to match the beauty of your thankful heart. You have steeped your consciousness in the warm, life-giving frequency of gratitude. You have learned to give thanks for the good that is already yours, and for the even greater good that is on its way. This act of gratitude is the tuning fork that calibrates your energy to the frequency of your desire. Now, we must take this one crucial, transformative step further. We must move from a state of feeling thankful for our desire to a state of actually living from it. We must graduate from being the hopeful audience to becoming the lead actor. We must master the great and subtle art of assumption. We must learn to live, mentally and emotionally, in the end. This principle, a cornerstone of the world's most powerful creators, is often misunderstood. This is not fake it till you make it. That phrase implies a falsehood, a mask you wear for the outside world, while internally you remain the same. Living in the end is the opposite. It is a radical and entirely internal shift of your dwelling place. It is about moving into the house of your fulfilled desire in your imagination and living there, right now, so fully and so completely that the outside world has no choice but to conform to your new address. You do not deny the evidence of your senses. You simply, with quiet and regal authority, cease to give it your primary attention and creative energy. You have chosen a new inner reality, and you now live from there. Consider the craft of a master actor. When they are on stage preparing to play the part of a king, they do not simply put on a crown and hope for the best. A true master assumes the state of being a king. They walk differently. They think the king's thoughts of sovereignty and responsibility. They feel the king's emotions of power and perhaps isolation. They react to the other actors not as a fellow actor, but as the king would react to his subjects or advisors. In those moments on stage, they are not a man pretending to be a king. They have become the king. They are living from the end of being a king. Your desired reality is the role you have chosen to play, not on a stage of wood and curtains, but on the infinite stage of your own consciousness. You must assume the part of the person who is already healed, who is already prosperous, who is already living in a state of profound love. And here is the key. You must not break character. What does it mean to break character in this inner drama? It means reacting to the circumstances of your current 3D world from your old state of being. The moment you check your bank account and feel a pang of fear, you have broken character. You have forgotten you are playing the part of the prosperous one. The moment you feel a surge of jealousy or loneliness, you have broken character. You have forgotten you are inhabiting the role of the one who is securely and completely loved. Living, in the end, is the discipline of maintaining your assumed role, regardless of the temporary and shadowy play of facts that surrounds you. So how do we perform this act of assumption? It begins with a specific, disciplined act of the imagination, preferably in that drowsy, receptive state just before you fall asleep. First, you must clearly define the end. Construct a short, simple, sensory-rich scene that implies your wish is already fulfilled. It is crucial that the scene takes place after the fulfillment. You do not imagine the moment of receiving the check. You imagine a later scene where a friend congratulates you on your success. You do not imagine the wedding day. You imagine a quiet, domestic moment weeks later, feeling the wedding ring on your finger as you do a simple task. The scene must imply that the desire is a settled, natural, and normal part of your life. Once you have your scene, you enter it. You do not watch it as if it were a movie on a screen. You step into the center of it. You are the first-person actor. If the scene is a friend congratulating you, you must feel the imagined warmth of their hand in yours. You must hear the specific tone of their voice, filled with genuine joy for you. You must feel the answering surge of your own happy, thankful emotion. You must make this brief, imaginary event so vivid, so real, and so saturated with feeling that it momentarily eclipses the reality of the room you are physically in. You loop this short scene over and over again, like a lullaby, until it takes on the tones of reality. Then you release the effort, and you drift off to sleep, not in the feeling of wanting, but in the quiet, peaceful afterglow of having. You have successfully planted the seed of your assumption into the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. This nightly ritual is the act of setting your inner compass. But the true work is living by that compass during your waking hours. Your task during the day is to see the world through the eyes of the person you became in your imagination the night before. This is a practice of managing your inner reactions. When a bill arrives in the mail, you do not deny its existence. But you ask yourself, how would the prosperous version of me react to this? Perhaps with calm confidence, seeing it as a minor outflow from a constantly replenishing source and placing it aside to be paid with ease. When you feel a symptom of an old illness, you do not deny the sensation, but you ask, how would the healed version of me react to this? Perhaps with a patient, knowing calm, recognizing it as the old reality dissolving, as shadows leaving the body, and you would bless it and let it pass without fear. Living in the end means you stop having internal conversations about getting your desire, and you start having internal conversations from your desire. The person struggling for money constantly has inner chats about how to get it, where it will come from, and why it isn't here yet. The person who has assumed the state of wealth has inner conversations about wise investments, generous philanthropy, and beautiful travel destinations. You must consciously change your inner dialogue to match your new state. When you catch yourself reverting to the old worried conversations, you gently stop and pivot. You change the inner channel. This is the discipline. This is the art. It is a constant, gentle, moment-by-moment returning to your chosen state of being. You are the master actor who has been given the greatest role of all, the role of your own ideal self. Assume the part, feel its reality, and live from that end. The world, which is but a mirror to your assumed state, will have no choice but to rehearse its part opposite you and bring the curtain up on the reality you have so faithfully embodied within. You have learned to assume the state of your wish fulfilled, to mentally inhabit the end result with the faith of a master actor. But now, we must ask a profound question that dissolves the very foundation of this work and then rebuilds it with infinitely more power. What if there is no end? What if there is no beginning? What if the linear track of time upon which you have built your entire life's a past that haunts you, a present that is fleeting, and a future you strive for is the grandest and most convincing illusion of all? To truly become a sovereign creator, you must dismantle your most fundamental and unconscious belief, the belief in the supremacy of time itself. You must awaken to the only reality there ever was or ever will be, the eternal, creative moment of now. We live our lives according to two very different kinds of time. The first is clock time. The sun rises and sets, the seasons turn. We make an appointment for Tuesday at 3 o'clock. This is a practical and useful convention for navigating the world of form. It has its place, but humanity lives almost exclusively in a different, heavier dimension of time. We live in psychological time. This is a reality constructed entirely within the mind. It is a heavy burden of regret, guilt, and nostalgia, carried from a past that exists only as a fading ghost in our memory. And it is a constant, anxious projection into a future that exists only as a shimmering phantom of our imagination. All human suffering is born from this psychological time. Anxiety is living in a future that has not happened. Guilt and resentment are living in a past that is over. Fear is the paralysis that occurs when the ghosts of the past are projected onto the phantoms of the future. The great secret, the liberating truth, is that the universe does not operate in psychological time. It knows only one moment. Now, the only point of power you will ever have, the only moment you can ever create in, is this present moment. You cannot change the past. It is a memory trace. You cannot act in the future. It is a mental concept. You can only act, feel, and be right now. The entire art of living in the end is not about reaching some future destination. It is about pulling the feeling of that future destination into your present moment, right now. This is how you collapse time. You do not travel to a new reality. You make the new reality present by embodying its frequency, now. To make this clear, let us use a powerful analogy. Imagine that all of creation, every potential reality you could ever live, exists simultaneously on a vast, infinite vinyl record. Each reality is a separate track, a series of grooves carved into the record. There is a track for the life you are currently living, but right next to it, there is a track for the life where you are a healed, vibrant being. There is another track for the life where you are a celebrated artist, another where you are a joyful philanthropist. Every single possibility exists, fully formed, as a pattern of potential on this cosmic record. All of it exists right now. Time, as you perceive it, is simply the needle of your conscious awareness moving sequentially along one of these tracks, giving you the experience of a past, present, and future. For your entire life, you have believed you are the groove, stuck on one track, moving relentlessly forward, unable to change the music. But the revolutionary truth is this: you are not the groove. You are not the music. You are the conscious, living intelligence that places the needle. At any given moment of now, you have the power to lift the needle of your awareness from the track of I am struggling, and in lack and gently, deliberately, place it down upon the track of I am prosperous and at peace. How do you do this? You do it by generating the feeling of the new track, right now. When you feel the feeling of wealth in this present moment, you have placed the needle on the wealth track. The universe, the great record player, must then begin to play the music from that track, delivering to you the experiences, people, and circumstances that correspond to the frequency of wealth. Creation is not a process of building a future. It is the act of selecting a different reality track in the eternal now. This is why worrying is so destructive. Worrying is the act of deliberately placing the needle of your consciousness on a track of a reality you do not want, and then flooding it with the emotional energy to make it play louder. This is also why forgiving the past is so essential. Holding on to resentment is like having the needle stuck in a scratch on an old, painful track, playing the same jarring, hurtful note over and over again, preventing you from ever hearing the rest of the symphony. To be free, you must lift the needle. You must return your awareness to the only place where you have power. Now, let us drop into this eternal moment together. Let go of the story of your life for just a moment. Bring your full attention into your body. Feel the subtle tingling, the field of aliveness that permeates your hands. That is not a memory. That is not a future hope. That sensation is happening only now. Now, become aware of the space around you. Feel the sensation of the air on your skin. Listen to the symphony of sounds in your environment without judging or labeling them. The distant hum of traffic, the whisper of the wind, the sound of your own breathing. This entire sensory landscape exists only in this present moment. Take a deep, conscious breath. The inflow of air is now, the outflow is now. In this simple, direct experience of the present moment, where are your problems? Where is your lack of money? Where is your loneliness? They do not exist here. They can only exist as a thought, a story the mind tells you about a past or a future. In the living reality of now, you are simply here, aware, breathing, whole, complete. This is your true home. The present moment is the creative womb of the universe. Your work is to consistently return to this home, and from this place of power, to generate the feeling of your wish fulfilled. You feel healthy now. You feel loved now. You feel peaceful now. You are not trying to get somewhere else. You are changing your state of being right where you are. When you do this, you are lifting the needle. You are changing tracks. And you can trust that the great record player of the universe will begin to play the music of that new track, which will then unfold in what we perceive as clock time. But the creative act, the cause of it all, happened in an instant. It happened in the only time there is. It happened in the eternal, powerful, and ever-present moment of now. We have journeyed into the timeless, formless realm of the eternal. Now, the point of all creative power. But you were not sent here to live as a disembodied consciousness, floating in an abstract void. You were given a gift of exquisite design, a sacred and intelligent instrument to navigate the beautiful complexities of this physical world. This instrument is your anchor in the now. It is your translator of energy. It is your most direct and honest connection to the universe. This instrument is your body, and learning to listen to its silent, cellular wisdom is to possess the most accurate compass you will ever own. For centuries, especially in the modern world, we have been taught to distrust the body. We have been conditioned to see it as a mere vehicle for the mind, a fleshy machine that is prone to illness, aging, and inconvenient desires. We have been taught to value the noisy logic of the rational brain above the quiet, intuitive wisdom of our own flesh and bone. We have waged war against our bodies, trying to tame them, discipline them, and force them to fit our mental ideals. In doing so, we have cut ourselves off from our most profound source of guidance. Your body is not separate from your consciousness. It is the physical expression of it. It is the place where the subconscious mind and the spirit speak to you directly, without the confusing filter of language. It is an antenna of immense sensitivity, constantly receiving and translating the vibrational data of your environment. Imagine that built into the very fabric of your being is a divine compass. It does not point north or south. It points toward yes and number. It points toward that which is in alignment with your soul's path and that which is not. This compass does not use words. Its language is sensation. The needle pointing toward yes, toward alignment, toward truth, manifests in your body as a feeling of expansion. It can be subtle or profound. It is a sudden lightness in your chest, a spontaneous desire to take a deep, fulfilling breath. It is a feeling of warmth spreading through your torso. It is a subtle hum of quiet energy, a feeling of openness, a sense of rightness and peace that settles over you. It is the feeling of your entire being gently, almost imperceptibly, leaning forward, saying, more of this. The needle pointing toward no, toward misalignment, toward falsehood, manifests as a feeling of contraction. This signal is often more pronounced, as it is a warning. It is the classic tightening in your gut, the knot in your stomach. It is a sudden heaviness in your shoulders, as if you have taken on a weight. It can be a sour taste in your mouth, a clenching in your jaw, a subtle but persistent feeling of dread. It is the physical desire to pull back, to shrink, to create distance. This somatic compass is always working, offering you perfect, in-the-moment feedback on every potential choice, every interaction, every environment you encounter. The only problem is that we have been trained, for most of our lives, to ignore its signals, to allow the loud, insistent voice of the logical mind to override the quiet, certain voice of the body. Your mind makes decisions based on a library of past data. It analyzes pros and cons. It operates from fear, from what it should do, from what others will think, from what looks good on paper. Your body, however, knows none of this. Your body operates purely on energetic resonance in the present moment. It does not care about the salary or the job title. It cares about the frequency of the work environment. It does not care about a person's impressive resume. It cares about the authenticity of their heart. Think of a time you were faced with a major decision. Perhaps you were offered a partnership or a job. On paper, it was perfect. Your mind, running its logical calculations, screamed, "Yes, you must do this. It's the smart move." But what did your body say? Did you feel a knot of dread in your stomach every time you thought of it? Did you feel tired, heavy, and drained after meeting with the people involved? That was your compass needle pointing unequivocally to number. How many of us have been taught to silence that wisdom, to be rational, only to find ourselves, months or years later, in a situation that drains our very soul, thinking back to that first, quiet, bodily warning that we chose to ignore? Let us practice calibrating this compass right now so you can become reacquainted with its language. Please, bring your full attention into your body. Take a gentle breath. Now, I want you to bring to your mind something or someone that you know, without any doubt, that you absolutely love. It could be the face of your child, the memory of your beloved pet, a place in nature that feels like home, or the feeling of being immersed in your favorite creative act. Hold that image and that feeling in your mind. And now, drop your awareness deep into your body and simply notice. What is the physical sensation that accompanies this thought? Is there a warmth spreading from your heart? A lightness? A smile forming on your lips without your command? A feeling of opening, of peace, of rightness? This sensation, whatever it is for you, is the feeling of yes, this is your true north. Become intimate with it. Memorize its texture. This is the feeling of alignment. Now gently release that image. Take another clearing breath. And for just a moment, I want you to bring to mind a situation that you know is not right for you. It could be a memory of a past job you hated, the thought of a food that makes you feel unwell, or a news story that fills you with a sense of unease. Do not dwell there. Just touch it with your awareness for an instant, and immediately notice the physical response. What happens in your body? A tightening in the solar plexus? A clenching in your jaw? A feeling of wanting to pull away, to recoil? A subtle wave of nausea or heaviness? This sensation is the feeling of number. This is your compass needle pointing away from danger, away from misalignment. Do not judge it. Simply honor it for the powerful, protective information it is giving you. And now, let it go completely and return to the feeling of your simple, neutral breath. You have just experienced, perhaps for the first time with conscious awareness, the two primary modes of your somatic intelligence. The common phrases we use: a gut feeling, my heart wasn't in it, it sent shivers down my spine, I have a bad feeling about this, are not just quaint expressions. They are literal descriptions of your divine compass at work. Your intestinal tract, often called the second brain, is lined with millions of neurons, constantly processing energetic and environmental information. Your body is the antenna. It picks up on the dissonance or harmony of a situation long before your analytical mind can catch up. Your first instantaneous physical and emotional reaction to a person or a situation is the most honest information you will ever receive. Before you have time to rationalize, to doubt, to talk yourself out of it, your body has already felt the truth. Learn to honor that initial signal. It is the unfiltered voice of your soul. It is the universe speaking to you in the only language that cannot lie, the language of your own magnificent, intelligent body. You have learned to tune into the subtle wisdom of your body, to listen to its clear and honest signals of yes and number. But what happens when the instrument itself is clouded by a powerful, disruptive interference? What happens when the delicate needle of your inner compass is thrown off by a powerful magnetic storm generated from within? This storm is the energy of old wounds, of resentment, of guilt. To ensure the clarity of your inner guidance system, and to open the channels for your creations to flow freely. We must now undertake the great and necessary act of energetic hygiene. We must clear the static from our broadcast. We must speak of forgiveness. Let us begin by dismantling the heavy, distorted edifice that our culture has built around this word. Let us be clear what forgiveness is not. It is not an act of condoning another's harmful behavior. It is not you saying, "What you did to me was okay." It is not a denial of your pain. It is not necessarily a reconciliation or a reopening of communication. In fact, true, deep, energetic forgiveness has almost nothing to do with the other person at all. Forgiveness is a profoundly selfish act. It is you, in your own sacred space, deciding that you will no longer carry the heavy, toxic poison of resentment in your own heart. It is you deciding to put down the hot coal that has only ever burned your own hand. Forgiveness is the act of cutting the energetic cord that binds you to a painful past, thereby reclaiming the immense amount of life force that has been leaking into a wound that can now finally be allowed to heal. You do not forgive for their sake. You forgive for yours. Holding on to unforgiveness, whether for another person or for yourself, is like trying to swim across a beautiful lake with a heavy stone tied around your neck. The stone is the grievance, the story of what they did or what I did. Every ounce of your energy is spent just keeping your head above water, struggling against the weight of this stone. You cannot enjoy the swim. You cannot appreciate the beauty of the scenery. You can barely breathe, and you certainly cannot swim swiftly and joyfully toward the distant shore of your desired reality. The exhausting, all-consuming work of maintaining the anger, of replaying the injustice, of holding the grudge, saps your creative power and keeps you anchored in the very pain you wish to escape. Forgiveness is simply the act of untying the knot and letting the stone drop. The release is instant, the lightness is immediate. And for the first time, you are free to swim. Let us use our radio analogy. Your consciousness is a broadcast tower, constantly sending out the signal of your desires and receiving the signal of universal guidance. Unforgiveness is the most powerful form of energetic static imaginable. It jams your frequency. Your clear, beautiful signal of "I desire to feel peace" is transmitted, but it is garbled and distorted by the loud, crackling static of "but they wronged me, and it's not fair." The universe receives a confused, chaotic message and can only reflect that confusion back to you. Likewise, when you try to listen for the subtle signals of your intuition, the quiet music of guidance, it is drowned out by the noise of the static. All you can hear is the replaying loop of the old injury, the old mistake. Forgiveness is the act of consciously, deliberately turning the tuning dial. It is you clearing the frequency, wiping away the static, so that your message can be sent with purity and power, and so you can finally hear the beautiful, clear guidance the universe is constantly sending you. This great clearing must be performed in two directions. First, we must address the forgiveness of others. Bring to your mind a person or situation that still holds an energetic charge for you. Do not choose your biggest trauma to begin with. Start with something manageable. Feel the familiar sting of the memory. Now, in your mind's eye, see the person or people involved. And for a moment, try to see them not as the villain in your story, but as a struggling soul, acting from their own level of consciousness, their own pain, their own ignorance. This does not excuse their behavior, but it begins to depersonalize it. It shifts them from a monster to simply a person who was lost. Now, bring your awareness to your own body. Imagine an energetic cord stretching from your heart or your solar plexus and connecting to that person or that memory. See the cord. What does it look like? Is it dark, thick, thorny, pulsating with anger or sadness? This cord is the channel through which your life force has been draining away. Acknowledge it. Thank it for the lesson it has taught you, the lesson of resilience, of compassion, of knowing what you will no longer tolerate. Now, in your imagination, Create a beautiful, powerful tool. Perhaps it is a pair of golden scissors or a brilliant sword of light. This is your tool of liberation. With a feeling of profound love and respect for yourself and your own well-being, take your tool and cut the cord. See it sever cleanly. Watch as your end of the cord retracts back into your own being, and as it does, it is instantly purified, cleansed, and sealed in golden light. Your energy is now yours again. Watch as the other end of the cord retracts back to the other person, returning their energy to them. You can wish them well, you can wish them peace, you can wish them healing, but their journey is no longer attached to yours. You have reclaimed yourself. Breathe deeply into the feeling of this new freedom, this new wholeness. Next, and often this is the most difficult part, we must turn the healing balm of forgiveness upon ourselves. We are so often our own harshest jailers, holding ourselves hostage for mistakes made long ago. We punish ourselves relentlessly, replaying our perceived failures on an endless, brutal loop. The forgiveness of self is paramount. You cannot move forward into a new reality while you are still emotionally and energetically chained to the person you used to be. Bring to mind a mistake from your past that you still carry with a sense of shame or guilt. See the you who made that decision. Look at that past version of yourself, not with the critical eyes of your present self, but with deep compassion. Understand this profound truth. That version of you was doing the absolute best they could with the awareness, the tools, and the resources they had at that time. If they had known better, they would have done better. You would not scream at a child for stumbling while learning to walk. You must extend that same grace to your past self. They were learning to walk through a difficult situation. Now, in your imagination, approach that past self. Instead of judging them, open your arms and embrace them. Flood them with the love and acceptance they did not receive at the time. Thank them. Thank them for the powerful, if painful, lesson their mistake taught you. That mistake was a necessary part of the curriculum that forged the wiser, stronger person you are today. Say to them, I understand. I forgive you. Your lesson is learned. Your service is complete. I release you from this burden. Feel the weight of that old guilt lift from your shoulders. Feel the integration as the energy you had locked up in that past shame comes flooding back into your present moment. You are no longer fragmented. You are whole. This is the work. It is the holy work of clearing your vessel. Each act of forgiveness, whether for another or for yourself, is a dissolving of energetic debt. It is a clearing of the static. It is a dropping of the heavy stone. The freedom it creates is not just a psychological relief. It is a tangible, energetic reality. A vast reservoir of creative power that was once dedicated to the exhausting job of maintaining old grievances is now liberated, available to you now to build the beautiful new reality your heart truly desires. You have done the sacred work of clearing the channel. You have cut the energetic cords of resentment and released the heavy burden of guilt through the grace of forgiveness. Your broadcast signal is now clear, clean, and ready to be sent forth with power. But it is often at this very stage, in this newfound clarity, that a new and even more subtle saboteur arises from the shadows. It is a quiet, nagging, insidious voice that asks, "But am I truly worthy of what I desire? After all I've done, after all I am, do I really deserve to be happy, to be prosperous, to be loved?" We must now, with absolute conviction, dismantle the greatest and most disempowering illusion that has ever been perpetrated upon the human spirit, the illusion of a judgmental universe. For millennia, we have been conditioned to see creation through the lens of a divine personality. We have been taught to petition an external, man-like God, a cosmic king who sits upon a throne, weighing our deeds, judging our hearts, and deciding if we are good enough to receive our blessings. In this model, life is a test of morality, and the universe is a great scorekeeper. If you are good, you are rewarded. If you are bad, you are punished. If you want something, you must prove you are deserving of it. And so, We live our lives in a state of supplication, begging and pleading, constantly striving to be worthy, forever feeling as though we are falling short. This entire model is a human projection. It is a story we have told ourselves, a myth created to explain a power we did not understand. The universe is not a king to be petitioned. It is a law to be applied. To grasp this liberating truth, consider the law of electricity. It is a vast, powerful, and utterly impersonal force that permeates our world. Electricity does not judge the character of the person who flips the switch. It does not check your moral inventory before it flows through the wires. It has no opinion about how it is used. It operates according to a simple, immutable law. You can take this power and use it to light the life support machines in a children's hospital, a noble and good act that saves lives. The electricity flows without question. You can use that very same power, from the very same source, to power the cruel instruments of a torture chamber. A reprehensible evil act. The electricity flows just the same. It does not and cannot withhold its power based on the perceived morality of the application. It asks only one question. Is the device properly plugged into the current? The infinite creative power of the universe operates under this same impersonal law. It is a neutral, vast, and ever-present field of potential. It does not judge you. It does not care if you have been a saint or a sinner. It does not measure your worthiness. Its nature is simply to respond, to create, to manifest form from the patterns of consciousness that are impressed upon it. Your consciousness is the plug. Your sustained feeling, your core belief, your unwavering assumption that is the act of plugging your desire into the infinite power source. The universe cannot say, "No, you don't deserve this wealth because you were selfish last week." It can only ask, are you consistently providing the energetic pattern, the feeling state of wealth? If you are, the power must flow. To feel unworthy is the very act of unplugging yourself from the socket. The power is still there, humming in the walls, available to all, but you have disconnected yourself from it through your own belief in your disqualification. This truth must saturate your being, for it will set you free. The guilt you carry about desiring wealth, believing it is not spiritual, the shame you feel for desiring great love, believing you are not yet perfect enough to receive it, the sense of inadequacy that makes you ask for a little when you truly desire a lot. All of these are forms of self-sabotage, born from the false idol of a judgmental God. Your worthiness is not, and has never been, in question. It is an absolute given. You are a center of universal consciousness, a point through which the universe experiences itself. Your very existence is your ticket of admission to this creative power. Your worthiness was sealed at the moment of your conception. The universe does not require you to earn its power. It only requires you to use it. It does not demand that you be perfect. It only asks that you be persistent in your assumption. Furthermore, this impersonality extends to the nature of your desires themselves. To the creative law, a desire for $1 million and a desire for a single beautiful flower are exactly the same. They are merely different vibrational patterns, different feeling states that you choose to embody. The universe has no opinion about them. It does not see one as greedy and the other as holy. It sees only a frequency. The mind of man creates these hierarchies of judgment. We decide that desiring spiritual enlightenment is superior to desiring a luxury car. The universe makes no such distinction. It is a neutral mirror that will faithfully reflect any reality you consistently impress upon it. This is a radical freedom. It means you can release the heavy burden of justifying your desires, both to yourself and to a phantom God. You do not need to explain why you want what you want. Your desire is its own justification. Its presence within you is proof that its fulfillment is a possibility within the field of potential. Your only responsibility is to the desire itself to be faithful to it, to embody its feeling state, to assume its reality until it hardens into fact. You are the gardener. The The universe is the soil. The soil does not judge whether you are planting a rose or a potato. It simply provides the substance for whatever seed you choose to cultivate. Therefore, let go of the need to be good enough for your dreams. Your only task is to become a vibrational match for your dreams. Let go of the fear that your past mistakes have disqualified you. The creative law has no memory. It only responds to your present state of being. You are the operant power in your own life. The universe is a loyal and unimaginably powerful servant, awaiting your clear, feeling-toned instructions. It is not judging your heart. It is simply reflecting it. Assume your worthiness as an undeniable fact and plug yourself into the great current of creation without apology and with the calm confidence of one who knows they are simply using the power that is, and has always been, their birthright. You have done the profound inner work. You have cleared the channel of forgiveness and accepted your inherent, unquestionable worthiness to receive all the good the universe has to offer. You have learned to live in the end, to feel the reality of your desire as a present fact. So now, the question arises. Do you simply sit on your meditation cushion in a state of blissful expectation, waiting for your new reality to be delivered to your doorstep? Here we must address a common and critical misunderstanding that can lead to a state of passive fantasy rather than potent creation. The universe is not your cosmic butler, fetching things for you while you wait idly. The universe is your divine dance partner, and a dance by its very nature requires movement. We must now speak of the grace, the ease, and the power of inspired action. There are two fundamentally different types of action you can take in this world. The first is forced action. This is the action that our hustle culture glorifies. It is born from the ego, from a place of fear, lack, and doubt. It operates from the core belief that, if I don't make this happen, it will never happen. This type of action feels heavy, stressful, and frantic. It is the energy of swimming upstream, of pushing against a locked door, of trying to force a flower to bloom by prying its petals open. It is you, in your limited strength, trying to impose your will upon the universe. It is draining, exhausting, and often produces frustratingly limited results because it is powered by the frequency of struggle itself. Then there is inspired action. This is action of an entirely different quality and origin. It is born from your soul, from your aligned state of being. It does not come from a place of lack, but from a place of fullness and trust. It is the universe flowing through you, not you pushing against the universe. Inspired action feels light, easy, joyful, and often spontaneous. It is the next logical step that appears before you with an effortless and undeniable clarity. It is not about forcing the lock on a door. It is the feeling of a key suddenly materializing in your hand for a door that you now see was unlocked the whole time. Inspired action is not a struggle. It is a flow. It is the physical expression of your partnership with the divine. Let us return to a metaphor. Imagine you are in a boat on a great river. Your destination is a beautiful, sunlit cove downstream. This is the end, the desired reality you have been embodying. The person taking forced action ignores the river's current entirely. They face their boat upstream, or directly toward the opposite bank, and they begin to row with all their might. They are sweating, straining, their muscles burning, convinced that the sheer force of their effort is the only thing that matters. They may make some progress, but it is a grueling, inefficient battle against a power far greater than themselves. The person who understands inspired action operates differently. They still hold the tiller. They are still an active participant. But first, they take the time to feel the river. They put their hand in the water. They observe the direction of the current. They align their boat with that natural, powerful flow. An inspired action, then, is like feeling a gentle but firm current pulling the boat toward the left bank. You don't question it or fight it. You simply adjust your rudder and allow the river to carry you. An inspired action is noticing a favorable breeze picking up from behind, and you instinctively know to raise your sail to catch it. You are not generating the propulsive force yourself. You are intelligently and gracefully cooperating with a divine power that is already present and already flowing in the direction of your desire. The universe provides the current. Your inspired action is the raising of the sail. So, how, in your daily life, can you learn to distinguish the frantic rowing of the ego from the gentle guidance of the universal current? There are several clear markers for inspired action. First, it feels light, peaceful, or joyful. It does not feel like a heavy should or a stressful obligation. There is an energy of rightness, of ease, and often of quiet excitement about it. It feels less like a task you have to do and more like an impulse you get to follow. Second, an inspired action often seems small, simple, and sometimes even illogical to the rational mind. The ego wants a grand 5-year business plan. An inspired action might be a sudden, inexplicable urge to go to a specific coffee shop, to buy a book on a topic you've never considered, or to finally call that old friend you've been thinking about for months. It is not your job to understand the entire map. It is only your job to take the one next step that feels light and clear. Trust that the small, illogical step is a crucial point on the bridge of incidents that the universe is building to lead you to your desire. Third, when you follow an inspired action, the path tends to open up before you with a quality of synchronicity and grace. You go to that coffee shop and you overhear a conversation that gives you the exact idea you need. You call that old friend, and they happen to know someone who is looking for exactly your skills. It feels as though the universe is conspiring on your behalf, arranging circumstances to support your movement. Forced action, by contrast, feels like constantly hitting brick walls. Every step is a struggle. Nothing seems to work out. This is a sign that you are rowing against the current. Finally, and this is crucial, true inspired action is detached from the ultimate outcome. You take the action for the simple, intrinsic rightness or joy of the action itself, not because you desperately need it to be the final step that delivers your prize. You call your friend because it feels good to connect, not because you are banking on them having the answer. You read the book because you are genuinely curious, not because it's a calculated move. You trust that each inspired step is perfect in itself, and you release the need to control how it fits into the larger puzzle. There will also be times when the most powerful, most aligned, and most inspired action you can take is to do nothing at all, to be still, to wait. If you do not feel a clear, light, joyful impulse to move, then do not allow the anxiety of your ego to push you into frantic, forced action. The urge to do something, anything, is the voice of fear, the voice that does not trust that the river is still flowing. The soul is content to wait for the right current or the right breeze. To do nothing from a place of deep trust is a powerful action. It is you holding steady in the boat, calmly watching the water, knowing that the perfect impulse will arise at the perfect time. It is you refusing to row in the wrong direction, which is often the fastest way to get to where you want to go. Trust the impulse, trust the flow, and trust the sacred stillness in between. You have learned to trust the gentle current of inspired action. You have begun to move in graceful partnership with the universe, taking the small, light steps that appear before you. And as you walk this new path of flow and faith, something magical begins to happen. You start to notice things. You think of an old friend, and their favorite obscure song plays on the radio. You hold a question in your heart, and the answer appears on a billboard you drive past every day, but have never truly seen before. Coincidences begin to pile up, feeling too perfect, too personal, too precisely timed to be dismissed as mere chance. This is not your imagination. This is the universe leaning in and beginning to whisper back to you. It is the confirmation that your signal is being received. You are witnessing the emergence of its secret symbolic language, the language of synchronicity. A coincidence is a random event. Synchronicity is a meaningful one. It is a moment where the inner world of your thoughts, feelings, and desires aligns perfectly with an outer world event, creating a resonance, a spark of recognition that jolts you into a state of wonder. It is the universe winking at you, letting you know that you are seen, that you are on the right path, and that the physical and spiritual worlds are not separate, but are intimately and constantly in conversation. To the rational mind, this is nonsense. To the awakened soul, this is the very fabric of reality making itself known. To understand this, imagine you have moved to a foreign land, a land where the language is not spoken, but lived. The alphabet is not made of letters, but of symbols, meaningful patterns, and profound coincidences. When you first arrive, living from your old state of fear and separation, this world seems chaotic and random. You see a hawk circle overhead. You notice the time is 3:33. You overhear a snippet of a song and it is all just meaningless noise. But then, you begin to do the inner work. You align your energy. You hold the feeling of your desire in your heart, and you begin to pay attention. You start to realize that every time you feel a surge of confidence about your new path, the hawk appears. You begin to notice that when you feel lost and ask for a sign, the number sequence 333 shows up on a license plate, a receipt, a page number. You are beginning to learn the language. Soon, with continued attention, you become fluent. You understand the grammar of this silent dialogue. You know that the hawk is the universe's way of saying, "Yes, keep going. Your vision is clear." You know that the numbers are a comforting message that you are supported by unseen forces. You realize that the overheard conversation was a direct answer to a question you were just pondering. The world is no longer a random collection of disconnected events. It has become a living, breathing tapestry of meaning, a constant and loving dialogue between you and the divine. You are not just living in the world, you are in conversation with it. This symbolic language has many dialects, many forms of expression. Perhaps the most common in our modern world is the language of repeating numbers, what some call angel numbers. You glance at the clock and it is 11:11. You buy a coffee and the total is 4.44. You see a license plate with 777. Do not dismiss this as a trick of the mind. Consider it a gentle chime, a notification from the universe. These number sequences are energetic signposts, placed along your path to offer a burst of confirmation, a nudge of encouragement, or a reminder to check your thoughts. You do not need a special book to decode their meanings, though they can be a helpful starting point. The true meaning lies in your own intuitive response. How did you feel the moment you saw the numbers? What were you just thinking about? The synchronicity is in the timing. The message is in the context. Another common dialect is the language of nature, of animal messengers. An animal that is unusual for your area may suddenly appear, or a specific creature, dragonfly, a fox, a butterfly, may begin to show up with remarkable frequency in real life, in pictures, in conversations. These are often ancient symbols, totems carrying a specific energetic medicine for you at that time. A dragonfly might be a message of transformation and illusion. An owl might signify wisdom and the need to see in the dark. Again, the specific meaning is less important than the act of noticing, of acknowledging the message with a sense of wonder. The universe also uses the entire world as its mouthpiece. This is the dialect of overheard conversations and signs. You are wrestling with a decision, and as you walk down the street, one stranger says to another, "Just take the leap, you won't regret it." The message is for you. You are feeling lost, and you turn on the radio, and the very first lyrics you hear are, "Don't you worry, child, heaven's got a plan for you." That is a direct communication. The key is to be open, to listen not just with your ears, but with your soul, understanding that any part of your reality can be used as a conduit for a message. And of course, there is the rich, symbolic dialect of dreams. When you are asleep, the resistance of your conscious, skeptical mind is lowered. In this state, your higher self and the universe can communicate with you through the powerful, archetypal language of imagery and feeling. Pay close attention to recurring dreams, or dreams that leave you with a particularly strong emotional residue when you wake up. Keep a journal by your bed. Write them down before the memory fades. These are not just random firings of your neurons. They are often direct communications, offering guidance, revealing hidden fears, or showing you a glimpse of a potential future. The key to decoding this beautiful, personal language is not found in an external dictionary, but in your own awareness. The meaning is always personal to you. When a synchronicity occurs, immediately ask yourself two questions. What was I just thinking about? And how do I feel right now? The sign is almost always a direct commentary on your inner state in that exact moment. And remember that this is a feedback loop. The more you notice and acknowledge these signs, the more they will appear. Every time you see a sign and you smile, or you whisper a quiet thank you, you are telling the universe, I am listening, I hear you, keep talking to me. You are encouraging the dialogue. You are moving from a monologue of desire into a rich and magical conversation with a living, intelligent, and deeply loving cosmos that is always, always speaking to you. You only need to learn how to listen. You have learned to read the symbolic language of the waking world, to see the universe winking back at you in the form of synchronicities. You are in a dialogue. Now, we must return to the most profound and direct method of broadcasting your own signal, of making your statement to the cosmos with such clarity and power that it must be heard. There are two moments in every 24-hour cycle where the veil between the conscious, waking world and the vast, creative subconscious mind becomes thin and permeable. These two slivers of time, the moments just before you fall into deep sleep, and the moments just as you emerge from Itari, the golden gateways of creation. They are the fertile ground where new realities are conceived. To become a true artist of reality, you must master the state akin to sleep. To understand its power, you must first understand the relationship between your two minds. Your conscious, waking mind is the vigilant gatekeeper of your inner world. It is the masculine, analytical principle. During the day, it is wide awake, alert, and often critical. It stands guard, analyzing new information, comparing it to past experiences, and judging its validity. If you try to introduce a new idea that contradicts its long-held beliefs-an idea, like, I am wealthy, when your bank account is empty, Gatekeeper will immediately challenge it, block it, and reject it. It will say, that is not true, and deny it entry into the deeper realms of your being. Your subconscious mind, however, is the vast, fertile, feminine principle of creation. It is the womb, the dark, rich soil. It does not argue, analyze, or judge. Its nature is to be purely receptive. It accepts any seed, any idea, any feeling that is planted within it, and it immediately begins the powerful, automatic, and unseen process of gestation. Its sole function is to take the seed of an idea and unerringly grow it into the harvest of a physical circumstance. The great challenge of creation, therefore, is to bypass the critical, awake gatekeeper and plant your seed of desire directly into the fertile soil of the subconscious. The state akin to sleep is the key that unlocks the gate. As you begin to drift off to sleep at night, your conscious mind, the gatekeeper, becomes drowsy. Its vigilance wavers. It begins to nod off. It is no longer standing at full attention, questioning everything. It is in this precious, drowsy, hypnotic state, the hypnagogic state, that the gate to the subconscious swings gently open. This is your sacred opportunity. This is your time to slip past the sleeping guard, carrying the precious seed of your fulfilled desire, and plant it in the warm, dark, receptive soil of your deeper mind. This is a delicate art, not an act of force. Let us walk through the ritual. When you get into bed at night, your intention is not simply to sleep, It is to create, lie down, and relax your physical body completely. Let go of the thoughts, the worries, and the events of the day. They are finished. Your only purpose now is to enter the sanctuary of creation. You must have your scene prepared in advance, as we have discussed. A short, simple, sensory-rich scene, which implies that your wish has already been fulfilled. A scene that you would experience after your prayer has been answered. It should be an action that you are performing, involving the sense of touch or sound, feeling the ring on your finger, feeling the texture of the steering wheel of your new car, hearing the voice of a loved one congratulating you. Now, you allow yourself to drift. You do not try to force yourself to sleep. You simply let go, feeling the pleasant heaviness and numbness spreading through your body. You are hovering on the very edge of sleep, in that delicious, blurry state where thoughts lose their sharp edges and you feel calm and detached. This is the state akin to sleep. You have arrived at the open gate. Gently, effortlessly, you begin to play your short scene in your imagination. But you do not watch it like a film. You enter it. You are the central character, in first person. If your scene is a friend's handshake of congratulations, you must feel the imagined pressure and warmth of their hand in yours. You must hear the sound of their voice in your mind's ear. You must feel the thrill of joy, the quiet surge of relief and gratitude that would be yours in that moment. Do not strain. Do not use effort. This is a gentle, passive process. You simply allow the scene to loop over and over again, as easily as a lullaby. Again, you feel the handshake. Again, you hear the voice. Again, you feel the joy. You continue this effortless looping until the imaginal scene takes on the tones of reality. You want it to feel so real, so natural, that it feels more present than the feeling of the sheets on your skin or the darkness behind your eyelids. The goal is to fall asleep in the midst of this act. If you can successfully fall asleep while looping your scene, feeling the sensation of your wish fulfilled, you have succeeded perfectly. You have carried your assumption from the conscious world through the gateway of the drowsy mind and have successfully deposited it as a living seed within the subconscious. You have given your divine creative servant its blueprint, its instructions for the night shift. As you sleep, your subconscious mind, which never sleeps, will begin its mysterious work of rearranging the world to conform to the truth you have given it. Equally powerful, though more brief, is the second gateway, the moment you first awaken. In the morning, as you emerge from the depths of sleep, there is a precious window of time, perhaps only a few seconds before the conscious gatekeeper is fully awake and on duty. Before the avalanche of daily thoughts and worries comes rushing in, there is a silent, formless, and highly receptive gap. This is your second opportunity. Before you even open your eyes, before you move a muscle, your first conscious act should be to reclaim the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Feel the gratitude. Feel the quiet joy. Give thanks that your desire is an accomplished fact. By doing this, you are starting your day not from a state of lack or seeking, but from the state of completion. You are setting the frequency for the entire day to come, instructing the universe on the reality you now inhabit. Master these two gateways, the portal of sleep and the portal of waking, and you will have discovered the most fertile, potent, and direct method for impressing your will upon the fabric of reality. You have practiced the art of assumption. You have impressed your subconscious mind in the sacred state akin to sleep, planting the seed of your new reality in the most fertile ground of your being. You have done the work with faith and diligence. And yet, a strange and often frightening thing may happen on this journey. Instead of the immediate thrill of manifestation, a profound silence descends. Instead of the joy of arrival, a stillness that feels not like peace, but like a vast, disorienting emptiness may begin to permeate your world. The old desires that once drove you may lose their charge. The pleasures that once satisfied you may seem hollow. It can feel like you are lost, adrift in a gray and featureless landscape, abandoned by the very universe you have been in such intimate conversation with. You may be tempted to believe that all this inner work was for nothing. If this is where you find yourself, listen with your whole heart. This is not a sign of failure. It is not an abandonment. It is, in fact, a sign of your immense success. You have arrived at the threshold of a great transformation. Welcome to the void, the sacred chrysalis, the holy darkness before the dawn. This is not the end of the path. It is the final, holy, and absolutely necessary stage before your rebirth. To understand this, consider the miracle of the caterpillar. It lives a full and successful life as a caterpillar. It crawls, it eats, it grows. But at a certain point in its development, an ancient inner knowing, a deep biological imperative, compels it to stop. It stops crawling, it stops eating, and it hangs itself upside down from a branch. It then secretes a substance from its own body to form a shell around itself, a chrysalis. From the outside, it appears that all activity has ceased. It has become dormant. But what happens inside that chrysalis is not a simple or peaceful rearrangement. It is a complete and total annihilation. The caterpillar's body, its entire form and structure, dissolves into a nutrient-rich primordial goo. It becomes a soup of pure, undifferentiated potential. Imagine this from the caterpillar's perspective, if it had one. It is a death. It is the end of everything it has ever known itself to be. It is no longer a caterpillar, but it is not yet a butterfly. It is in the void. It is formless. It is nothing, and it is everything. And yet, hidden within this chaotic, dissolved soup are tiny things called imaginal cells, the seeds of the butterfly, the genetic blueprint for a winged existence it cannot yet comprehend. And from this surrendered, dissolved, soupy state, a new, magnificent, and utterly different form begins to organize itself, to emerge from the nothingness. You, my friend, are in the chrysalis. Your consistent inner work, your meditation, your forgiveness, your new assumption jaws triggered this sacred process. The old you, the caterpillar self, with its limited beliefs, its earthbound perspective, its familiar habits and attachments, has begun to dissolve. It has to. Its form is incapable of flight. And this dissolution feels like death, because it is a death. It is the necessary death of the limited ego self to make way for the winged, expansive soul self to be born. It feels like disorientation and emptiness because you are, for a time, formless. You are no longer the old you, but the new you has not yet fully crystallized. You are the sacred goo. The only way to navigate the chrysalis is to surrender to the process. To fight the void, to resist the dissolution, is to try and remain a caterpillar inside the chrysalis. It is to cling to a form that is destined to melt away. This resistance only creates immense suffering and prolongs the agony. Surrender is not giving up. It is not an act of passive weakness. It is an act of supreme trust and active faith. It is the caterpillar's wisdom to allow itself to be dissolved, trusting in the unseen intelligence that guides the process. It is you, letting go of the oars of your ego and allowing the great, dark, silent river of transformation to carry you. Surrender is the prayer of the soul that says, I do not know who I am in this moment. I do not know where I am going. My own power and my own understanding have brought me to this point, but they cannot take me further. I release my need to know, my need to control. I trust the process. I trust the darkness. I surrender. What does this surrender look like in practical terms? It means, first and foremost, to be still. The urge to fix the feeling of emptiness, to fill the void with frantic activity, with noise, with new desires, is the resistance of the ego. Your only true work in the void is to endure it, to allow it, to be with the nothingness without trying to turn it into something. It is a time for rest, for quiet, for minimal external engagement. It also means you must observe your feelings without identifying with them. The feelings of fear, of loneliness, of meaninglessness, of I have failed, will arise. They are the death throes of the old identity. Your task is to watch them as you would watch clouds moving across the sky. You are the sky, not the clouds. Acknowledge their presence. Ah, there is the feeling of fear, but do not build a house in that feeling. Do not believe its story. Simply allow it to be and to pass, knowing that it is a symptom of the great alchemy taking place within you. And finally, you must cultivate a radical, blind faith in the unseen. You must trust that even in this nothingness, this silence, this apparent stagnation, a profound and holy restructuring is taking place on a level you cannot yet perceive. The imaginal cells of your new reality, your new self, are gathering. They are organizing. They are building the wings, the antennae, the new eyes with which you will soon see the world. Your job is not to direct this process. Your job is to provide the safe, surrendered, trusting space of the chrysalis so that this divine intelligence can do its perfect work uninterrupted. Do not break open the chrysalis ahead of time to see if anything is happening. You will only destroy the delicate, miraculous process. Trust the timing, trust the darkness, trust the goo. For it is from this state of complete surrender and dissolution that a being emerges that the caterpillar, in its wildest dreams, could never have imagined itself to be. We have journeyed through the mind, through the heart, through the shadows and the silence. We have learned to quiet the static, to honor the sacred no, to embrace the void. We have allowed the old self, the self that pleads and bargains and fears, to dissolve within the sanctity of the cocoon. And now, we arrive at the threshold of the final, most profound realization. This is the truth towards which all other truths have been pointing. This is the key that does not just unlock a door, but reveals that there was never a door to begin with. The ultimate truth is this: you are not talking to a universe that is separate from you. You are not sending a request to a distant cosmic entity. The entire dynamic you have been taught, the relationship of a small self asking a great power for a favor, is an illusion. You are, and have always been, a center of universal consciousness, instructing itself. The power that creates worlds, the intelligence that spins galaxies and heals a cut on your skin, is not external. It is the very consciousness with which you are hearing these words right now. You are the operant power. This is not a truth to be understood lightly. It is a shift that inverts the entire pyramid of reality. For lifetimes, humanity has looked outwards, upwards, praying to gods in the sky, to forces beyond. We have felt small, subject to the whims of fate and fortune. But the great mystics, the sages who spoke in riddles and whispers, all pointed back inwards. They understood that the kingdom of heaven is within you, not as a poetic metaphor, but as a literal, functional truth. The power to which you have been praying is the very power that is listening from within you. The conversation is not a dialogue between two. It is a monologue of the one self, discovering its own infinite nature. You are not a subject in a vast kingdom. You are the silent, sovereign ruler of your own reality, giving laws unto yourself through the state of your own consciousness. Consider the metaphor we have held so dear. You are not a drop of water in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a single drop. Let us truly feel the weight of this. A drop of seawater is not merely like the ocean. It does not just contain some properties of the ocean. In its fundamental essence, in its chemical signature, in its salt and its life-giving minerals, it is the ocean, simply localized to a specific point in space and time. It is not a separate entity. It is a perfect microcosm. So it is with you. Your individual consciousness is not just a fragment chipped off a divine block. It is the entire divine consciousness, the whole of God, the totality of the universe, experiencing itself from a unique perspective. The I am that is you is the same I am that is all that is. There is no other. When you finally accept this, the need to ask for anything dissolves. Asking implies separation. It implies a giver and a receiver. But if you are the source, who do you ask? You do not ask. You decide. You assume. You become. This is the meaning of being the operant power. The word operant means to be in effect, to be functioning. Your consciousness is the only functioning, creative power there is. Everything else, every condition, every circumstance, every person, is an effect, a shadow cast by the light of your own awareness. To change the shadow, you do not fight with it. You do not plead with it. You simply move the light. You move your consciousness into the state of the wish fulfilled, and the shadows have no choice but to rearrange themselves accordingly. The universe does not have its own will that can oppose yours. The universe is your will, made visible. It is your assumption, objectified in the world of form. This is why the feeling is the secret. Your feeling is the language of the self, speaking to the self. It is the creative act itself. When you feel gratitude, you are the universe instructing itself to produce more experiences worthy of gratitude. When you feel abundance, you are the universe decreeing its own nature as abundance, made manifest in your life. It cannot fail, any more than your reflection in a mirror can fail to smile when you smile. The mirror has no choice. The world has no choice. It must reflect the state you occupy. This realization must be handled with care, for it is not a truth for the ego. The ego is the very sense of separation that dissolved in the void. The ego would hear, "I am the power," and become a tyrant. But the awakened self hears, "I am," is the power, and becomes a steward. It is a recognition of immense responsibility. If your world is your own consciousness pushed out, then every aspect of your world is your own creation. The beauty, the love, the joy, these are your artistry. But the conflict, the lack, the sorrow, these are also the result of your state of being. There is no one else to blame. There is no external force to rail against. There is only the opportunity to return within, to revise the inner state, and to project a more beautiful reality. This is not a burden. It is the ultimate liberation. It means that no matter what the current circumstances look like, no matter how convincing the facts of the world appear, you have the power to change them by changing yourself. You are not a victim of your world. You are its silent architect. Let this sink into the very marrow of your bones. The power you have sought your entire life is not coming to save you. It is waiting to be recognized within you. The intelligence that you have tried to understand is the same intelligence that is doing the understanding. You are the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega of your own experience. The creative power of the universe is not a distant force. It is your own wonderful human imagination. The Word of God is not written in an ancient book. It is the feeling state you choose to occupy, the assumption you dare to hold until it becomes your reality. So, stand tall in this new awareness, not with arrogance, but with a deep, quiet, unshakable dignity. You are not a puppet. You are not a pawn. You are the prime mover. You are the cause. You are the creator. You are the operant power. And with this profound, life-altering recognition, the very nature of your conversation with the universe begins to change. It is no longer a specific act you perform in moments of need. It is no longer a technique. It transforms into something far more constant, far more integrated. It becomes the very essence of your being. And so, after the grand revelation, after accepting that you are the operant power, we arrive at the final plateau. Here, the landscape changes entirely. We reach a point where the very tools and techniques that brought us here begin to fall away, not because they are useless, but because their purpose has been fulfilled. They were the scaffolding around a magnificent building, but now the building stands complete, and the scaffolding is no longer needed. The ultimate goal of this journey was never to perfect the act of talking to the universe. It was to reach a state where the conversation becomes so constant, so natural, so integrated, that you no longer recognize it as a conversation at all. It is simply your state of being. The conversation never ends, because it has ceased to be an event and has become your very existence. Think of it like breathing. When you first learn meditative practices, you focus intensely on the breath. You count the inhales, you lengthen the exhales, you notice the pause in between. It is a conscious, deliberate act. But as you live your life, you are not constantly thinking, "Now I must inhale. Now I must exhale." The breathing happens. It is a continuous, life-sustaining exchange between you and the world, an automatic, rhythmic process that signifies you are alive. This is what your communication with the universe becomes. It is no longer a formal, structured practice you perform at certain times. It is the constant, effortless, rhythmic exchange between your inner state of being and its reflection in the outer world. Your every feeling is an exhale, releasing a frequency into the world. Your every observation of reality is an inhale, taking in the feedback from that frequency. It is a perfect, unending loop. In this state, you no longer need to set aside time to live in the end. You simply live from the end as your natural starting point. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not a state you strive to enter. It is the home you inhabit. The sacred pause is not a technique to quiet the mind. It is the ambient stillness from which you operate. Gratitude is not an exercise you perform. It is the very texture of your awareness, the lens through which you see everything. Inspired action is no longer a surprising nudge. It is the natural, frictionless movement of your body, like a dancer who no longer thinks about the steps because she has become the dance. The distinction between you and the universe, between the inner and the outer, between the thought and the thing, becomes so fluid, so transparent, that it ceases to have any real meaning. You are a living, breathing conversation. This is the ultimate freedom, the freedom from striving, the freedom from the anxiety of, "Am I doing it right?" You cannot do it wrong, any more than you can breathe wrong. As long as you are conscious, you are creating. As long as you are feeling, you are communicating. The only choice left is the quality of that communication. Do you breathe shallowly, in a state of fear and contraction, or do you breathe deeply, in a state of open, trusting, expansive peace? The shift is from a goal-oriented life to a state-oriented life. You realize the ultimate prize was never the car, the relationship, or the money. The ultimate prize was arriving at this state of conscious, harmonious resonance with the all. The beautiful irony is that when you truly arrive in this state, when you are no longer desperately needing those things because you feel whole without them, they flow to you with an ease and grace that would have seemed miraculous to your former self. They come not as hard-won rewards, but as natural byproducts of your being, like fruit appearing on a healthy tree. The focus was never meant to be on the fruit. It was always meant to be on the health of the tree. And you are the tree. So, let go now of the idea that this is a system to be mastered. It is not. It is a reality to be embodied. Let go of the notion that you must constantly monitor your thoughts. Instead, simply become aware of your general feeling state, your inner climate. Is it peaceful? Is it agitated? Is it grateful? Is it resentful? That feeling is your constant prayer, your unending broadcast. Tend to that inner climate the way a gardener tends to their soil. Nurture it, enrich it, protect it. The rest will take care of itself. The conversation becomes a silent hum, a gentle vibration that underlies every moment of your waking life. It is the quiet confidence that all is well. It is the deep knowing that you are supported. It is the peaceful assurance that you are the creator of your experience, and that the power that paints the sunset is the same power that beats in your heart. You have walked the path from being a prisoner of circumstance to being a student of reality, and now, finally, to being a master of self. But mastery is not about control. It is about flow. It is not about effort. It is about surrender to your own divine nature. You have learned the language, you have understood the grammar, and now you can forget the rules, for you have become fluent. You speak the language of the universe by simply being yourself, your true, authentic, awakened self. The conversation never ends. The dance never stops. The breath continues. It is the gentle, powerful, unending rhythm of creation. And you are not just listening to it. You are it. And so, our journey through the inner cosmos comes to a gentle close. We began by listening, learning to decode a language older than words, the silent language of feeling. We walked the path of the architect, understanding that our deepest beliefs were the invisible blueprints of our reality. We learned to quiet the relentless static of the mind, finding immense power in the sacred pause. We discovered that our attention was the sacred currency of creation, and that our true desires were not for things, but for the feelings we believe they will bring. We learned to want without needing, to release with faith, and to see every closed door not as a rejection, but as a divine redirection. We journeyed further still, to the ultimate realization that the power we sought was never outside of us. We are not small voices shouting into a vast, indifferent void. We are the operant power, the creator and the creation, the artist and the canvas. We are the ocean, experiencing itself in a single, precious drop. The path was not about learning a complex set of rules or a secret technique. The title of this journey spoke of a formula, but the final truth is this: the formula was never a formula. It was a returning, a remembering. It was the shedding of all the layers of disbelief that told you you were separate, small, or unworthy. It was a journey home, to the truth of what you have always been. So, when you go forth from this space, do not carry this as a burden of knowledge to be applied. Let it settle into you as a state of being. The universe is not a distant entity in the sky to whom you must plead. It is the silence between two of your heartbeats. It is the intelligence that is healing a cut on your skin, even now, without a single command from you. It is the stillness in the depths of your awareness, beneath the surface waves of thought. It is the space within you, waiting for your impression. You do not need to shout. You do not need to beg. You only need to become. Be still and know you are the voice, and you are also the echo.